SpaceX just scrubbed the Falcon 9 launch of Starlink 10-2, so the flame trench is cold, but we can get it warmed up.
And here we go. We have liftoff.
Propulsion continues to be nominal.
R68 chamber pressure looks good.
Doubling up.
How does this work?
It's orange!
Oh my god!
Décollage! Put that in the big bag,
343 unfolds to go.
Indeed.
We rise together, back to the moon and beyond.
The methane would be igniting the flare, correct?
Yikes. You dead? Sure. We don't need any more of these.
Welcome to the Flame Trench. That's right, it's our weekly unscripted, less formal, whatever you want to call it, discussion show where we go over events from the past week. If you want the formal news show, you can tune into This Week in Spaceflight, or as we lovingly call it, TWIS, which also comes out on Fridays. So that's the formal side. This is the informal side. So welcome to the Flame Trench. I'm Jack Byer for NSF. You may know me from such driving streams as driving 14 hours straight to New Mexico, or driving 14 hours straight back to Starbase. Also joining me on today's Flame Trench, we have a new face and an old face. Not old, but a standard face. Hi Sawyer, you're the standard face.
Calling me old already? Come on, you and I are both around the same age, kinda, sorta.
You're not old, I'm ancient. That's how it works. Look at the gray. You see the gray? That's how you know.
I do. Man, it's been a long time since I've been on a broadcast on the NASASpaceflight YouTube channel. So
Yeah,
it's good to
solid,
be back.
10 minutes, right?
About, yeah.
Does this break the record? We should ask Alex to consult the spreadsheet if this breaks the record of cadence between NSF streams. I actually don't think it does.
Or host turnaround. Let's go with that.
There you go. Host turnaround.
Co-host turnaround, yeah.
Good deal. Well, thanks for joining us, Sawyer. And we also have D!
Hello.
Live!
Oh. Yeah, out in the field. Just saw Flame Trench almost get heated up, and now it's nice and cool once again. There's still a rocket sitting in front of me, which I did not expect to have happen during the Flame Trench.
Is that perhaps the worst view on launch day? The rocket's still on the pad after T0?
Honestly, I feel bad saying it, but today it almost felt special because it's been so long since the 9 not.
Oh, we might
Or
have
since
lost
we've
D.
seen a D not have connection there.
Uh-oh. Small technical difficulties, but yeah, I think what D was saying is that West Coast is best coast, East Coast
No,
is bad.
we have you
Space
recorded
coast
in the
more like
pre-show as
scrub
saying
coast, am I
East
right?
Coast, Best Coast. Also, Kevin, why is that there? But the Flame Trench is not scrubbed. The Flame Trench, it is on like Donkey Kong right now. You're watching it. The fact that you're watching it means it hasn't scrubbed.
It went away. He made it go away.
Thank you. See, we don't scrub the Flame Trench, including the people on the East Coast, which is, as you said in the pre-show, Best Coast.
Nope, that was a mistalk because I had too much pasta for lunch.
Blame the pasta, right? It's all the pasta's fault.
That's my story, and I'm sticking to it, much like the pasta stuck to the pan. Or should I say bacon stuck to the pan, if you were able to tune in to our bacon cooking live stream for members. If you were able to tune into that, thank you so much. If you weren't, I'm sorry, it's not still available, but we'll have it in some form for members eventually. He's a busy person, has a lot to edit. I'll put it that way.
There was BTS of the member stream. I recall seeing them record the BTS there. Jack, I saw you had the GoPro at one point.
Yes.
D, they had the GoPro at one point.
Yes.
I mean, there's stuff, and I'm sure everything still smells of bacon.
It does. In fact, when I used the oven last night to make oven pizza, the entire house re-stunk of bacon. So It's not missable. Kevin, are you checking? Should I be acknowledging that, or should I be ignoring that? We're working on.
I didn't mean to be checking live on air. Sorry about that.
No, that's fine. We're working on getting D back, so hopefully we'll have them back here shortly. I do want to thank some people who are coming out of the gate with some support, and then we'll get into the topics of the week. I think our first topic of the week is VSS Unity flies for the final time, or does it? I've been noticing some interesting wording, I'll put it that way, that I would like to sort of pick apart. But maybe I'm just reading too far into things. But first, support from our members, because we can't do this without y'all. Patrick R., thanks for becoming a Padrat. Very awesome of you. The roundabout guy, I don't want to mess up anybody's name again. The roundabout guy with a super chat, thank you so much. They say, when are we ever going to get the Little Flap That Could shirts on the NSF website? I'd pay good money for that. Trust me. Your desires and wishes have been heard. That is a matter for the store team, which I am not on. I just occasionally pop into the store team channel and say, I want things. So I'm like you. I want things. We'll see what the store team can whip up. But trust me, a lot of people have asked. We've heard you loud and clear. We'll see if there's anything we can do. Yeah. Bob Smith, thanks for becoming a Padrat member. Morton Van Vick, gifting 5 red team memberships. Thanks, Morton. Kevin, are you ready? You ready for the thing? Kevin?
Kevin's ready for the thing.
You ready for the thing?
I'm ready.
All right, I'll save that one. And Coco Cats.
I'm ready.
Ninja Decimator, gifting 5 red team memberships. Pew, pew, pew.
I did it.
I didn't.
You just can't hear it.
I didn't hear it. How am I supposed to know you did it if I can't? Okay. And Coco Cats gifting a red team membership. Thank you all. Seriously, thank you. It was such a blast to hang out with everyone during our insane driving streams and the Bacon member stream. Suffice to say, we want to do more stuff like that with y'all, because y'all are the entire reason we can do what we do. And it was a whole lot of fun. So thank you again for the very warm response to some unique member content that we put out. I hear myself. Oh, God. Oh, and it's gone.
I think you were trying to make it so we could hear the pew pew pew, but instead we heard you.
We did. Wow, Sawyer. Wow.
I'm delusional today. It's great.
Someone named D-Pod Dolphin Productions, which I don't know why anyone would choose that as a name for anything, frankly, is asking, is Jack growing out his beard to be thick and warm during the winter? No, I'm just lazy. In fact, I meant to shave it before today's Flame Trench, but I have a lot to do, some of which I cannot talk about yet. So, yes.
No leaks.
No leaks. No, not even hinting at the leaks. But yes, I'm a very busy boy. And so I have not shaved yet. But this in the summer, nobody cares about this. Let's talk about Virgin Galactic.
Honestly, I think people care more about the beard, but that's a whole nother story.
That hurts my heart.
I know.
You're probably not wrong. Dee, do we have you back yet? They look frozen.
No, they are not back yet.
Mad Jack noises. All right, well, you know what? Ooh, Astro Knucklehead, gifting a red team membership. Thanks, Astro. Another member was hanging out during our insane line. And RC Horseman, y'all, how are we going to ever get the topics? RC Horseman gifting 10 red team memberships. Thank you, RC Horseman. Heck yeah. That's awesome. That's 10 people now that have memberships just from RC Horseman. Incredible. Thank you so much. If you just got a gifted membership, thank RC. Also, check out your sweet member perks. Okay. So, yeah. I mean, let's just jump right into Virgin, Sawyer, as we wait for Dee to get back online here.
Yeah.
Suffice to say, oh, you're showing the stream? Don't show the stream. Oh, it's terrible. I'm terrible. It looks way better after I've had like 3 hours to edit it to make it look actually nice.
I'm sorry. How many people captured it live and streamed it live on any platform on the internet? One.
I mean,
and who was that person?
It was Dee and myself.
You and Dee? Yeah.
Yeah.
You both deserve the credit for this.
I mean, I appreciate it, Sawyer. To me, the live broadcast's utility is that it is immediately live with as little delay as possible. Same as all of our live broadcasts, which when it comes to Virgin Galactic launches is advantageous because there tends to be a longer delay between when something actually happens and when Virgin says it happens. Like I think we were finally arriving back to spaceport and they had tweeted that the crew had landed, and it was like, yeah, no, we know. We saw them. We saw them on the ground on our cameras like 5 minutes ago. But the live views are not like, I specifically shoot this in a way that it can be cleaned up after the fact. If you've seen my Instagram story, you have seen the cleaned up version of this, which looks way better.
That's nice.
Thank you. But yeah, anyways, I'm going to grumble about that. Nobody cares. So the thing that I alluded to...
Jack,
go ahead.
maybe you should just not be terrible.
Yeah.
If you think it's terrible, just don't be terrible.
Ooh.
I try so hard, Kevin.
Wow.
I try so hard.
Harsh.
Is it not enough for you?
You're awesome.
What can I do?
We also
What can I
had
possibly
D
do?
shooting the slow-mo as well.
Yes,
Which-
he also shot some amazing slow-mo. That was a really fun trip. Maybe we can talk more about the trip itself when we get D back. But the thing I alluded to before we did member support that I wanted to sort of parse a little bit is I've noticed the pilot for the mission, Nicola, and some other Virgin Galactic employees in their social media posts essentially saying last commercial flight of Unity. I've also seen some people saying Unity is going to be retired. What does that mean? Does that mean that they'll fly it again as a test flight, maybe? Can a guy hope? Are you telling me there's a chance, Sawyer? What do you think?
I mean, I wonder if it's going to be something like we've seen with Blue Origin, where they have capsule flights with people, and then they also have flights that are just payloads, just people that want to get some research time on their payloads. So maybe you take out the seats, except for the two pilots, and then you put cargo in it and fly it that way instead, and then they use the Delta class to fly the people. It's a possibility I could think of, but yeah, I mean, this was the last scheduled flight with people for sure on Unity. So I wonder if that means that that's the case, unless they're talking about other more secretive applications like, military research or something like that, which I doubt.
That would be fascinating, though. Yeah, I do wonder, because they do have research flights, right? And they do have research payloads. They're always going to be the pilot and I don't think it's actually called a co-pilot. There's always going to be the two humans on board that are required to fly the thing. But as in terms of paying passengers, that's what it seems like is over for Unity. Hopefully, maybe I'm just delusional and I really want to see this thing fly again. But hopefully we get to see Unity fly again, even like as a captive carry test article for a new mothership, because they are building, in addition to the Delta class of vehicles, they're also building new motherships as well. So who knows? Maybe they'll use it like for fit checks for a new mothership, and it'll fly in that way, but not actually fly under rocket power or what have you. I'm just
shame
probably
still, but
yeah, it would be a shame. I feel like this is such an amazing machine. If this is truly its last rocket-powered flight, that's kind of sad.
I mean, how many... You don't really have anything that drops from underneath a plane like that anymore. Virgin Orbit's out of business. I haven't really seen them flying the Pegasus XLs from under the TriStar, so...
I think there's like 2 left, last I heard, and that was a while ago, so if you told me there was none left, I would believe you. And the ones that they have left, I do believe Northrop Grumman is using internally for shall we say, DoD things.
The
super
stuff
secret,
they can't tell you about.
right? Super secret DoD thing. Hang on, I think I have a knock at my door. FBI, open up.
No.
But yeah, I mean, Stratolaunch and Talon are kind of the only other operational outfit out there, and they've only flown Talon on a powered flight once. So yeah, to your point, Sawyer, air launch seemingly not. I mean, it's not growing. I don't want to say it's going away, but it's not growing.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah, it's kind of... They're pretty much the main player in the game when it comes to that. And, I mean, it's pretty darn cool. And as we've seen for 7 paying customer flights here, or research flights with people on board, basically, it's flown perfectly. Well, as perfectly as it can with the occasional minor mishaps that the FAA looked into. But
Right, like
all of the people
that
came back
deviation
home.
on the Branson flight, yeah.
That and then the drop pin on
Oh, yeah, the
Galactic
pin.
06. But all of the astronauts came back alive. That's the important part there. So you've got a safe, for the most part here, system. I love it. And I don't want to see that go away. It's nice to have something so different that it makes it a spectacle to see.
Yeah, and here's the tweet right there. Last commercial flight during Galactic 07. That is the tweet, one of the tweets I was referencing. He's not saying last flight. Maybe there's a chance. I'm probably just being delusional, but I really want to see the system fly again. D, do we have you back? I hear you 5x5, good buddy.
I don't believe they're in vMix, though, at the moment, so I'm not sure that stream would be able to hear them.
Okay, well,
Oh, no,
let's...
they can hear them?
I have
maybe?
questions. I have questions for D, so I do want to get to them back in vMix. Chat, give us a 5x5 if you can hear D.
By the way, I do want to address something that you said there, Jack, about being delusional. I mean, you think West Coast is best coast, so yes, I think it's safe to say you are indeed delusional.
Sawyer, do I think East Coast is best coast or West is best coast? Make up your mind. You've contradicted yourself in like 20 minutes flat.
You've said it before, but we had you in the members-only pre-show, flat out saying East Coast, best coast.
Yeah, that was the
by
pasta.
Oh no, but yeah.
That was the pasta.
I think you said it many times in a row. Even.
Anyway.
No, it's the pasta. It's the pasta's fault.
There we go.
Chat,
D, I think we have them back.
I'm waiting for chat to say 5x5. Come on, chat. Yes. Okay, we have you loud and clear. D,
fantastic.
This was your first Vulcan. This was your first Virgin Galactic flight that you got to see in person. And I know you have thoughts, so I'm just curious right off the bat how you felt about seeing something like this that's a hand-flown spacecraft with a hybrid solid rocket motor fly. Like, what was it like? How did you find that experience?
I mean, it was incredible. I was looking forward to it a bit, but I had been a little bit critical of Virgin Galactic in the past, and so I knew it was the very last potentially Unity flight. I really wanted to know the emotions didn't fully until after they actually a plane dropped from another plane. Just had me beyond words, and knowing that people were the ones manually controlling that. It was just great after a long night driving, no rest.
Oh, we might be losing D
weird.
again.
And all
goodness.
That.
I think you're coming through robot again. I don't know if there's any wizardry you can work on your connection, but it's a little bit in and out. But I think suffice to say, you found it an awesome experience.
Absolutely.
By the way, Jack, did they just say that it was a human-flown vehicle, that there's a pilot that hand flies the entire thing?
Yes, it is a hand-flown vehicle that a human controls.
I wish I could see what that looks like in a simulator or something.
Right, like how do they train to do those sorts of flights when, you can't train in the real world without actually going into space. So yeah, if only there was a video that we just released like 2 days ago detailing this exact thing. Yeah, this is actually from back on the I think it was Galactic 05 when they gave Doss and I the tour, and we got to go inside the simulator and talk with their chief test pilot. I'm probably going to butcher his last name, Dave. It's not McKay. I think it might be McKee. I know he's Scottish. That's all. I'm sorry. But yeah, he was an excellent teacher and showed us completely through the simulator from drop to ignition to landing, and even did a little bit of aerobatics, which you'll have to watch the video to see. But yeah, we just dropped we just dropped that video, and give it some
Oh,
love.
clever.
There's a lot of really cool things in there, and it's really cool that Virgin gave us the opportunity. I mean, we've been covering their launches since they were at Mojave from outside the gate, and only very recently have they given us this sort of access. And you know, we like to show them some love because we appreciate access. We appreciate any company that's willing to sort of open the vault and show us how they do the amazing things that they do. So check that video out. Excellent plug, Sawyer. Good job.
Thank you. I do have a legit question, though, and I want your opinion on it, having been out there. They're saying that they'll be able to get the Delta class, the next type of vehicle, up and flying by 2026, I believe?
No way.
I was about to say, do you think that's a plausible timeline?
No way. I wish I wasn't so certain, but I think in all of spaceflight, perhaps the most certain thing is that timelines never hold. You know, they could hold sorta, but they never hold. It always takes longer to do things than you would expect or hope. It always takes longer to build the thing and then find out exactly what you are going to learn from just building it alone. And they've been talking about Delta for a long time now. I want to say since 2018. It's been a long road to get to this point. Originally, Unity, the spacecraft that they just retired from commercial flights, was going to have two sibling craft, I believe Imagine and Inspire were their names. Those did not ever get fully built, although I remember seeing them in the hangar at Mojave, you know, the fuselages and pressure holes and all that in work in, like, again, 2018. And supposedly they've used those now as ground test articles in support of the Delta program, so hopefully that lets them speed up a little bit. But I earnestly hope that they're able to meet their timeline and have Delta operational by, 2026?
Yeah.
But I suffice to say, I'll be very shocked. And that kind of feeds into the anxiety and the next question. But Dee, if we have you back, do you have any thoughts in terms of will they hit their timeline with the Delta class vehicles? We know so little about them. It's hard to say almost.
I don't want to be overly pessimistic, but I don't think so. They've got a lot of stuff. I mean, what spacecraft makes its timelines? Just in reality, what spacecraft have we seen that has actually flown people on time with all their testing? I really don't expect them to meet that goal, but I can be hopeful. I really want to see another space plane dropped from a plane fly people to space. That was an incredible experience.
Yeah, I think that is the perfect sentiment. I don't expect it. I certainly hope that it holds, because I don't want to wait 2 years to see that again. I love going to these flights. They don't feel like any other launch. They don't feel like any other spaceflight activity, because it's not like any other spaceflight activity. And
it really isn't.
else?
Like, where else do you get to watch it take off, per se, and then
Yeah.
hop in a car, drive down the road, chase this thing, and then you still don't know for sure when it's going to launch? The thrill of packing up all the gear after watching them take off.
Oh no! Oh no!
Oh.
Dee froze again.
I think
But
it didn't want people knowing about CP11.
That's exactly what I was
So-
going to say, though. Is the thrill of the chase is a uniquely Virgin Galactic thing.
Rush.
And yet,
We've got Robot D. Sorry, D.
but props to you both, Jack and Dee, for, again, being able to get that chase down to a point where you've managed to just set up, and all of a sudden, oh yeah, there it is. There's the vehicle. There, it's going to drop. I mean, you kind of nailed it with that. We've got cameras that see it take off. We've got you guys seeing the drop. Then after it came in for landing, we saw it as it was being towed off of the runway. I mean, yeah, it's major shout out to both of you for the fantastic work out there, because that is a lot of running around and a lot of driving, not even including Jack and Dee's excellent adventure.
Yeah, I mean, it's a challenge, right? But it's a fun challenge, and the only reason we know how to cover these is because we've done it a bunch of times. The first time I ever went out to spaceport for a Virgin launch, like I know how to cover a Virgin Galactic launch from Mojave. I've done that a bunch of times. I think Brady's the only other NSFer besides D and I that has actually seen or photographed a Virgin Galactic launch.
Maybe DOS?
Maybe DOS. Oh yeah, and DOS. Thank you. But yeah, the only reason we know we have it down so cold at this point is because we've done it so many times, and the only reason we could do it so many times, because let's be real, the Virgin Galactic streams are not a moneymaker for us. They're not Starship, and they require a lot of resources, especially compared to other launches where, like, say, launches out of Starbase, where we already have assets, or launches out of the Cape, where we already have assets. Everything at Virgin launches, we have to sort of cart out in a vehicle. But yeah, the only reason we know how to do it so well is because our members have supported us throughout the years and let us learn and figure out exactly how to do it. If we didn't know where they were dropping from past experience, it would just it wouldn't be possible. I mean, the amount of time it takes us to drive from the runway to the drop zone and then set up live equipment, there's usually like a 5 to 10 minute max period between when we're all set up and everything's ready to go and then drop happens. So there's no like looking at FlightAware and being like, okay, where do we go now? It's the most fun thing to do, and I'm so glad we get to do it here at NSF, because it's not the sort of thing that, I don't see CNN out there, I don't see Fox out there, I don't see major news networks out there. Like, yeah, there's some local outlets who will then give their feeds to the major networks if they even choose to show it, but it's basically the Virgin Galactic feed and just us, and we think we provide a good amount of utility. So yeah, thank you for the kind words, Sawyer. Oh, Das is also saying in our back channel, the other reason why we can do these is because of all of our, mostly his, work with the Spaceport America Cup, which is the amateur rocket competition that happens there every year, which we support. And in fact, I believe Das and Kevin are going to be there next week for this year's Spaceport America Cup. Which is going to be a real hoot. I was going to be there. I will not be there. I wish I was going to be there, but Das and Kevin will be there, and all of that work from supporting those events over the years is absolutely key to allowing us to do what we do. I mean, Das knew the exact sort of broadcast hardware, shall we say, that is necessary to support that. And the only reason he knows that is because of supporting the Spaceport America Cup. So the question, Sawyer, then becomes, if Delta-class ships are indeed no earlier than 2 years out, because we were just saying, right, we don't expect that timeline to necessarily hold. So no earlier than 2 years out. I do believe over the last year, their burn rate was around $1 billion, and I think they have $800 million cash on hand. That could be completely wrong. That's like brain. That's what's in my brain. I don't know if that's actually correct. But yeah, do you think we'll ever see Delta class vehicles fly, or could this have realistically been Virgin Galactic's swan song?
I was legitimately thinking about that while we were on air for the launch itself. It's unfortunately, I think it's possible. I mean, yeah, the concern, of course, is money. It sounds a lot like we saw with Virgin Orbit as well, which again, different company from Virgin Galactic, although Richard Branson obviously still involved. That one, I mean, I got to tour their facilities. I saw them building multiple rockets, and they didn't all fly.
Right.
I wonder if we're going to get the same here. Like you mentioned, they're definitely burning through a bunch of cash. I don't know if they're burning through that because they've actually been upping their flight cadence, or if that's just in general. Because yeah, for 2 years, they really aren't going to have that much of a source of income until they start flying again and get paying customers. And you're talking about basically redesigning a spacecraft almost from scratch here. I mean, obviously you have some of the knowledge that you've learned up to this point, but it's a different vehicle. So I would not be surprised if that was the final flight, or if, as we talked about earlier, Unity somehow makes a mysterious couple of research flights before we see the Delta class ones fly.
Yeah, I really hope they can get there. I mean, I don't know how many times we can say it again and again, but I love what Virgin does. I want to see them mature and grow and reach the cadence that they anticipated already having reached with Unity and its now defunct sister ships. But the other concerning part of this is even if they get to Delta, even if they get to Delta class ships, that is sort of like making a better Spaceship 2, a better Unity, right? Which is a good thing. Better Unity, good. But that's not what unlocks the company, being super financially successful. That's just what gets them to where they need to be today. It's almost like they're playing catch up in some ways. I think what unlocks that potential is point to point and other applications of the spacecraft beyond the suborbital hops that are like just fun to do and or good research opportunities. Because unfortunately, research doesn't pay the bills.
Jack, we say it all the time that space is hard, and building a rocket company that is profitable is even harder. So I mean, they have a lot of work to do, but they'll get there. They'll get there if they just can continue to keep the finance going to make it through the big hump.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's my main concern is, are they able to tighten their belts enough? Are they able to raise whatever additional capital they might need in order to get to a point where they can have the runway to get Delta class online? I certainly hope they can. I sincerely hope they can.
And on top of that, I think it's also worth pointing out right now, the VSS Unity can carry 4 participants up, and usually one of them ends up being an astronaut trainer at some point, or was for quite a while there.
Right.
So that's 3 seats that people are paying money for. I mean, sure, they had the people that, as soon as they announced it, put down their deposits for it. A lot of celebrities put down deposits for it and everything like that. But I think they've fulfilled 3 of those original orders, basically, up to this point. So then you get that concern of, you've got all the people that were giving you the money, and the money that you're using. The worry now is, if it's another 2 years, are they going to say, hey, I want my money back? Even though it's a deposit, it's like, you guys have been keeping our money for almost a decade now. I want to fly, or I want it back.
Right.
I want my
see.
money, and I want it now.
Call Virgin Galactic now. All right.
877 space now.
Yeah, there you go. That's way better.
Also, I do want to point out from earlier, when it was you and Brady, Doss was out there. He said he didn't see nothing, only cloud bottoms. So he got the
right.
West Coast, Worst Coast experience.
That's right. That was the cloudy one. Dang it. Poor Doss.
Hey, Jack, we had something in the back channel that I wanted to share with you. Yeah, I think if I change fan clubs, I might have a slot on Unity with you guys. We could have 2 from the worst coast and 2 from the best coast.
All right. Fair play, Kevin. Fair play.
2v1. And you're lucky that Max is busy getting ready for another exciting adventure of his own, or else it'd be 3v1.
I'm not even gonna. Hey, look, we have some support. The roundabout guy, thank you so much for the super chat to say, how much for a dad joke token? $2. So you have one. Use it wisely.
Ooh, not a pun token, a dad joke token.
It's a totally different
token. Dad.
Totally different kind of token. It almost gave Sawyer a stroke. Scott, thank you for gifting a Red Team membership. Apocalypse Cow, that's Danger Moo. Watch out. Gifting 5 Red Team memberships. Thanks, Apocalypse Cow. Matthias, thank you for the super chat. They say, will we be able to get the Optimus assistant with Jack voice and personality? What?
AI Jack? Oh god.
Why would you want this? That's a terrible idea. I don't even want that. Musical Wolves, thanks for the support. They say the Unity Sim vid was awesome. Thank you. I really want that video to do well, so please bookmark it if you haven't seen it already. Watch it later. Watch it now on a separate window. I don't care. Tell your friends about it. It's a really cool sim. One of the people actually in the comments, well, first off, several people in the comments clearly had either worked at Virgin or other spacecraft companies that used a similar sim rig. One of the commenters was like, they rattled off some company name, which I presume built the simulator. Was like, they've built 2 other simulators, Jack, so now you're 1 for 3. Just gotta fly in the other 2. It's like, okay, tell me how. Sign me up. And then another person gave, like, I don't know, a several paragraph long diatribe about getting to fly the Lynx sim. If you remember, what was the company that did Lynx? The Lynx spaceplane?
I have to look it up now because it's going to drive me crazy.
Yeah, it's escaping me. But yes.
X-Core.
X-Core, that's right. X-Core out of Mojave. Apparently Lynx had a similar setup, and one of the engineers there did a whole bunch of crazy stuff. So go check out, not only check out the video, check out the comments, because there's some really insightful stuff in there. Steve Kalovic, thank you so much. They say, Jack, you're a great photographer, but your movie pics, Blade Runner Final Cut, are not so great. I ordered it on 4K Blu-ray minutes after you mentioned it while driving. Yeah, we heard from Bideford, Steve, that it was not y'all's cup of tea. But what can I say? Like, all I can do is recommend movies that I love. I can't force you to love them, even if you're wrong for not. Sorry.
Hey, it could be worse. It could have been Trevor saying that.
That's true. But good job. Like, good on you for getting it on physical media to watch and not watching it streaming. Like, I applaud your effort. Not a lot of people would do that. Blake Alexander gifting 5 Red Team memberships. Matthias again gifting a Red Team membership. Bob Smith, thank you for the super chat. They say, as cool as automation is, I love having real humans in control. No algorithm today can handle everything. I mean, yes and no. Like, I don't have a bias towards a computer-controlled spacecraft or a hand-controlled spacecraft. I think they're both reasonable approaches. I just appreciate the novelty that is a hand-flown spacecraft. It's like you're basically flying in a passenger X-15, right? Like, that's wild.
I appreciate it. I have one word. Shuttle.
Shuttle, baby. Who
that was all hand-flown as well. So, you know, I do have a little bit of a bias towards it, and every single spacecraft, even the automated ones, do have the ability for someone, crew member, to take over manually. And even with Starliner, as we saw originally, they were testing it out, using the hand controls to maneuver around in space, since it's a test flight.
Yeah. Who was it? Was it Joe Engle, the shuttle pilot, who literally hand flew the shuttle all the way through reentry? Like, it's tradition for a pilot to sort of do a little bit during landing, especially during the final phases of landing. But Joe Engle was like doing the S turns by hand. It's insane. Right.
Typically, you have the commander and the pilot. And if I recall, when I was talking to astronaut Terry Virts, he was saying that they get like 30 seconds or so, usually during either one of the S turns or the hack, the heading alignment circle, where they get to have the controls and fly for a little bit.
Pretty nifty. So we've mentioned shuttle. That means Crispy is happy. I really want to get D back so we can talk a little bit more about the trip and about the launch. But I think in the meantime, we will do some questions. Also, T. Evans NC, thank you for gifting a Red Team membership. Seriously, y'all. The gifted memberships are amazing. Thank you for that. It's so kind of you to do. Let's see. Questions. Mighty Unlikely is asking, isn't Virgin Galactic going through a cash crunch after losing direct funding from Sir Branson? I mean, basically, yeah. They've had some layoffs last year. They are tightening their belt. In fact, even this sort of retirement of Unity is part of preserving cash flow in order to make it to when Delta class ships are ready. So unfortunately, yes. But my question is not, are they in a cash crunch, because I think it's kind of known that they are. My question is, will Branson, if the need arises, infuse cash into Virgin? I think in the past he said no. I think in the past he said basically they're on their own at this point. Like the little baby bird has left the nest. But yeah, I'm. That's my main reason for even questioning if they'll get to Delta class, is because their cash position is, shall we say, not great. Here's a really good one from Maurice. Why don't they continue to fly Unity until the Delta class is ready? They haven't said, but we can infer some things, right, Sawyer?
I mean, I guess. Do you want to dive deeper into that, since you've been out there more and have more info on that?
Yeah, I mean, they have said in the past that the maintenance on both Unity and the mothership are pretty labor intensive. And I do believe one of the goals for the Delta class is to make that refurbishment, or not even refurbishment, but make the checks that they do after each flight less time consuming, less intensive, less horrible to have to do. So perhaps it's a matter of Unity either was too expensive to keep running, or through these insanely intensive inspections that they've been doing over time, they've seen more wear and fatigue than they initially anticipated. And it just turns out that Kevin's nudging me. Do you want me to sit up, Kevin? Here we go. There we go. I have good posture. So yeah, maybe it's too labor intensive, or maybe they've uncovered some sort of deficiency in the airframes, either the mothership or Unity itself, where it's like, yeah, we could keep flying this, but it's not up to our preference or what have you. I don't know. It's a very good question. Why not keep flying Unity? And it's not something that they've extensively talked about, in the same way that they haven't extensively talked about what exactly Delta class will be beyond slightly bigger and easier to operate from a maintenance perspective. It will have 6 people instead of 4, but yeah, I don't know. I wish with all my heart that this was not the last space flight for Unity. That's why I'm reading so much into the tweets where it says last commercial flight. It's like, okay, so there's other flights, right? There's other flights, right? You're telling me there's other flights, right? Please.
So you're telling me there's a chance.
Yeah, exactly. D, do we have you back? I see your face.
I believe that you have me back.
Do
you hear me?
We have D back. At least I do not hear D. What if I unmute in vMix? We're doing it live. No, that's bad. That's bad.
So Jack, what you want to unmute is Cloud 12.
I have it unmuted.
Yeah, I have it unmuted.
I don't hear D.
Testing. Can you?
By the way, for those wondering, yes, there are at least 12 clouds, but I can't see them with my roof right now.
Nice. There's a lot of clouds. But that's a good question from Maurice. Like, we don't necessarily know the answer to it, but chat is saying they hear D 5x5.
Wow. Well,
say something.
then I can have some conversations. I can share all the things you told me that.
To be honest, I thought they were just going to say the word something.
I mean, that would be an appropriate response. So
that would be that would be using a dad pun token.
A token?
No, I'm not touching that one.
Alan C, it could be like from Street Fighter. Hadoken. Anyways.
Hadoken.
Alan C, thanks for gifting 5 Red Team memberships. Extremely generous of you. Another one of those names we see pop up all the time. I think Alan was in the Driving Insanity stream as well. Justin, picking up some patches and flight merch. Looks like they got the Flight 4 shirt, they got the Flight 2 patch, and the Flight 1 patch. Thank you so much, Justin. They say, I'm doing my part. Reference acknowledged. I love your team and all the work you do. Can't wait for SpaceX Flight Test 5. Yes, we are going to talk about Starship, believe it or not. We will get there. Thank you so much, Justin, for grabbing some merch from the store and allowing me to put the overlay. Oh, the overlay is missing Sawyer's face. Dang it. Sorry, Sawyer. I wanted to merch by you.
Good try. Haha. You may have good posture, but I can dodge these.
All right, let's troubleshoot this live.
Okay. Whee!
D,
All right.
can you try
We'll do it live.
talking?
Yes, I can try talking. Do you hear me?
I hear.
Testing, test. I am talking. Okay.
The voice of God and the voice of D.
Yeah, I can hear you. Yay, D. Hopefully we have you nice and steady this time. But yeah, I think we'll just go a little bit back and think. I mean, D, any thoughts on why they would stop flying Unity before Delta's ready?
I mean, yeah, it could be a number of things. I know you were talking like cost-wise, if it genuinely doesn't make sense, if they're draining the money they have, they're not bringing in enough money to actually make it worthwhile. If they have personnel that are stuck working on Unity, that they want to put some of that personnel onto Delta, and once again, minimizing the cost. They don't want to rehire all of those roles and have duplicates between them. If they have the subject experts from Unity that would otherwise be occupied in between flights, they might just want to have those people focused on Delta. And same thing, they don't want to drain their cash pool. And so basically, my guess would be any way that they can do that, or if they have a potentially more profitable, more worthwhile use for Unity, to support Delta, which would be more profitable potentially. They want to put all the resources into that to speed run their path to profitability from what they have with Unity.
Yeah, that makes sense. So now that we have you back loud and clear, I do want to ask a very important Virgin Galactic related question. What was it like spending 40 hours in the car with me?
I think I might have been saved by the fact between 40 and 400 other people with us basically the entire time. That might have saved me right there. Like,
yeah, that was a lot of fun.
They all got to tag along. They got to see everything. So it was not too bad.
That was a treat. It really was. And thank you again for turning the rental car into a mobile broadcasting studio. Once again, if you have no idea what we're talking about, D and I live streamed the entire drive up to Spaceport America. We did the Virgin Galactic stream, and then we streamed the entire drive back to Starbase. I think it ended up being something like 26 hours cumulatively just streaming. I think the trip timer on the car was 40 hours, and you still had to drive to North Texas after that, right?
Yeah, I had to go to Houston, and so I had to get up nice and early to avoid missing my flight, which I couldn't get on, but that's another story. We returned that rental car with 3,300 more miles on it.
Nice.
A very long, fun, entertaining road trip. And you didn't mention the bacon stream. I know that was that was the next day after we got back, but that was another like 2.5 hours on camera, but this time cooking and or burning bacon.
One thing, okay, so this is a little inside baseball. D records a lot of BTS. One thing that D recorded right before the bacon stream, BTS-wise, was me questioning why they were recording so much BTS, because they're never going to finish editing the BTS if they keep recording BTS. But one thing
that
you
is the
didn't
eternal
record
question
is the aftermath of the bacon stream. I don't think either of us were bold enough to record BTS of that, which was basically us just laying around for like several hours, just groaning because we had consumed like 3 pounds of bacon between us.
I did record one little bit of BTS after that, which was, I believe we got mentioned, or you got a message on Discord from Ring, like saying, "Hey, did you forget about the bacon in the oven?" At that point, the stream had ended. You were like lying on the couch.
Barely
And
conscious.
yeah, we did forget the bacon in the oven. So I grabbed the GoPro for the removal of that very, very burnt bacon.
The only bacon I burned, I'd like to point out, and I blame the bacon itself for that. So thank you, Ring, for saving us from burning down the house.
I mean, it has
That
to
was
be
much
about
appreciated.
365 degrees for that.
Well, Sawyer, I got an echo on that.
Yeah, I've been hearing that every time I talk.
Uh,
It was referencing the song that you were referencing, but anyway.
oh, okay, thank you. Chris Bergen in chat says BTS equals bacon tiredness scenes. That's startlingly
Ooh.
accurate.
Yeah.
Well, I guess in terms of Virgin Galactic, we can wrap it up and move on to Starliner. But as a final Virgin Galactic question, how do we feel this will affect the dynamic between Virgin Galactic and Blue Origin? I want to say it was Galactic 05. Maybe it was 04. I was at Spaceport. Eric Berger, friend of the channel, was there as well. And he referred to Virgin Galactic as the leader in suborbital commercial spaceflight. And in my head, I was like, And basically his argument at the time, I'm probably butchering it, was that Virgin was flying more than Blue, because that was like in between Blue's big stand down from one of their incidents. I believe it was a research mission, not a customer mission, but
Correct.
yeah. So I do feel like with the cadence that Virgin has sustained over the last 9 months to a year, it's been remarkable, and it seems like they were really firing on all cylinders. But now with this 2-year stand down, do we think we'll see a ramp in New Shepard flights and have Blue Origin claim that crown of leader in suborbital spaceflight, or perhaps even start flying humans on New Glenn before we see Delta class? Like, what do we think of that dynamic there? D, I'll go to you first.
I mean, that's a really exciting thought, that we really do have competition in suborbital space, and it's kind of sad to think that for a period of time, we're not going to have competition for suborbital human spaceflight. So there's a chance New Shepard ramps up a little, maybe, but I don't think it's like they're going to be able to take all of the crew that we're flying on Unity and suddenly fly them on New Shepard. I think we're going to see Blue continue to ramp up. I don't think we're going to see any humans flying on New Glenn before Delta. I think Delta will absolutely take the victory in that regard. But yeah, I think this could help Blue a little bit, but I don't want to overstate it. I don't think it'll have too crazy an impact. I think that the market for the launch versus the plane flight, I think those had somewhat different markets. Not that I was in either of those markets.
Yeah, that makes sense. Sawyer, what do you think?
I don't think any of us were in those markets money-wise.
Alas.
I think, honestly, that Blue Origin is going to hopefully use this to kind of take the lead, so to speak. I mean, I believe that was their 24th flight where they had the issue that occurred. So, I mean, that's already more customer missions than we've seen with Virgin Galactic. They finally just had their return to flight in mid-May, so about a month ago. So I think they're going to start ramping up now. As long as they made that fix to the engine belts, they don't get that burn through again. And if nothing else, it's also proven the fact that, hey, if something goes wrong, our emergency escape system works, not just in test conditions, but in real flight conditions. They did say, had there been crew on board that mission, they would have survived. So I think this is where Blue Origin really starts to ramp it up. Again, we'll probably see about the same launch cadence at Virgin, with a launch every month, maybe every 3 weeks or so. And hopefully we see more people, and especially more research, getting that suborbital hop where Blue Origin does emphasize on their broadcasts that they do pass the Kármán line, which that's a whole nother thing. But I think that's going to be their main bread and butter. I still think Delta would happen before people on New Glenn.
Yeah, that makes sense. All right, I think that is a good wrapping point for Virgin Galactic. Let's move on to Starliner. Jazz hands. Everybody jazz hands for Starliner. Jazz hands. Come on.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Wait. I have a little bit of a surprise.
What?
Oh gosh.
I have
Kevin's
a little bit of a surprise.
What's the surprise, Kevin?
All right.
Scared.
This is totally not properly planned, but you probably hear a voice in the background.
It's fine.
I'm hearing a voice mumbling occasionally.
Yep.
Hey, it's
Wait a
EJ.
minute.
We're the investors. Yeah. You look marvelous, man.
So EJ can't hear us. EJ is in a truck driving across the country.
Hey, Flame Trench. Hi. Hey.
It's EJ. Hi.
Because I'm driving down the road. Here, look. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Wait, what time is it?
I'm glad to see that he's finally moving.
All right. Well, hopefully there's some
Yes.
great discussions going on. Hopefully great discussions are happening. Let me put that up there for a second. Hopefully some great discussions are happening, and I'll see you guys next week.
Yeah.
I'm currently hauling my buddy's car across the country to make it go faster
Nice.
in a 37-year-old truck.
Also nice.
So, you know, I got that going for me, which is nice. Anyway, everybody that's over on the Flame Trench, I hope everybody's good. I hope you guys had a good discussion. Flight 5, man. Flight 5. Oh, it's going to be sick. Did you see Starship making through peak heating? That was fantastic. The wing coming apart, it doesn't care. It just stuck it. It was great. It was excellent. So, yeah, no, and when I say it, like, I'm in a truck right now. Look, here, let me switch it. Look, see? We are in a truck. Look.
No,
I
Russ.
got a camera so you can
Jack, we
backseat
need to
me
camp
while we're
outside our
driving
car
down the
next
road.
time and find us
Me
next
and my buddy
time.
Ernok,
We do.
driving across the country. That's what I've been doing. That's where I've been. So, I'll see you guys. Or if I don't know if you want to stick around, you can. But you should be watching the Flame Trench. Also, sit down. You can hold it. Well, you can hold it. All right. There's a bottle over there.
Wow. Yeah, EJ, I think, is clowning on us a little bit, D. Like, we need, next driving stream we need more cameras. I
We
mean,
will
I
have
hate to
more
say
cameras. We did attempt to have more cameras, but then the GoPro wasn't working out, so I will absolutely be setting up my actual cinema cameras all around us, and we will have even more internet connections to stream from.
it. Indeed.
Also, I do have a slight bone to pick with him. He's under 2 hours away from where I live, and he's not coming by to say hi.
Boo. I think he was supposed to come by Starbase at some point, but that was scrubbed due to extra work needing to be done on the truck. So if you want to follow along with EJ's exploits in the drive, I do believe he is streaming that on Twitch, on his Twitch. So be sure to go check that out as
I think
well.
he
If you're
stole
a
your
fan
title.
of driving, he stole my title.
The title
Oh.
of his stream, at least when I got the notification that EJ was live.
Oh, is it EJ and Friends Excellent Adventure?
Uh,
I'll be
Nice.
honest, guys. I stole it from him because he wasn't having an excellent adventure. He was just stuck out in San Diego. So I just stole it.
I mean, who's been saying "be excellent" to each other at the end of SBU for like literally years? This guy. I think
That's true.
who's stealing from whom? But anyways, that's
But if you want to follow EJ, he's EJ_SA on Twitch.
yeah. If we can get the link spammed in chat, one of the mods, that'd be great. Because speaking from experience, D and I made the attendance of our members made the drive that much less painful. So absolutely go
It was
follow
so
along.
fun, members.
It really was. It was so fun. We went through the entire top 250 IMDb movies of all time. It was a good fun. It was a good fun time. slightly
we
lost
gotta
our
up our
minds.
graphics game. I just looked at EJ's stream. It has his heading, his altitude, his speed, the percentage of the journey completed, where he is, the weather.
Yeah, we're
Wow.
gonna have to do better. The bar has been raised.
Are you saying I'm slacking? I need to do better as a producer.
I would never say that.
Yeah,
Kevin, what were you
would,
doing
Jack.
No, the
only
producing
live with
part
us
was
for
great.
26 hours during that like 2.5 day period?
You know, I'll tell you, I felt like I was on the drive with you. Like my butt hurt as much as it would have if I was sitting in a car for that long. Like I needed to recover.
What was your favorite part of the drive, Kevin?
God, I don't know.
D, what was your favorite part of the drive?
Oh, easy answer. Of 3 different answers, all in the same section of drive, of talking about, it'd be cool if we saw a rocket, and then seeing a second stage, passing underneath the bridge that a booster crashed into, and seeing a mark on said bridge.
Yep.
And actually, the final one, of course, is the next day, actually making it to Starbase and having a couple people meet us there out on the beach. Just so cool.
That was exceptional. And of course, getting stuck on the beach.
Like,
yeah,
it would
we're
not
done.
have
We
been the
made it.
same
Oh
if I had
crap!
successfully driven.
We're stuck.
I actually just figured it out. So
I'm used to
my
four-wheel
first
drive.
best part of the stream was actually when we were only on Discord the first day on the way out there, and something's happened to Jack.
I hear a car alarm. Please continue.
Oh, so anyway, I think the bugs attacking Jack. I think that was the number one for me. But number two was, I think I'm gonna kind of copy you, was getting stuck in the sand. Like I knew it was gonna happen. I've never been to Starbase, but Das always talks about how newbies driving on the beach get stuck in the sand, and guess what? D drives right on the sand and gets stuck.
To be fair to
I'm
D,
not new to driving on the sand. I have driven so many miles on that sand, but I think it was the fact that I wasn't in my own car. I was in a rental car. I was excited for the moment. It was very dark out, so I wasn't really paying attention to the exact perfect spots to drive in the sand. I just wanted to go and talk to people, and I may have been a little bit more heavy-footed on the throttle than I should have been.
Yeah, in fairness, we were both fatigued, and it was dark, and we had a person on the beach that was like waving at us that knew we were about to be there. So it was like, let's drive right up to him. Oh wait, because that little corner right there where the pavement and the beach sort of coincide. That's exactly where everybody always gets stuck. I feel like I should have stopped you from doing that, but I was also like, oh my god, we're here, we're finally here. So, so yeah. Anyways,
it was a lot of relief.
Like in the same way that the smoke alarm went off during the bacon stream, the getting stuck on a beach was at the end of the drive was perhaps the most cinematic way that we could have ended that stream. Except for
Absolutely.
getting stuck behind ship 26, that would have probably taken the cake. I'm so glad it didn't happen.
Yeah, then you'd have to stare at ship 26.
The best ship.
Exactly. All right, let's finally talk about Starliner. After multiple delays, Starliner docked to the ISS, but now there are some delays to its undocking. Sawyer, you want to tell us what on Earth, or I guess in orbit, what on orbit is going on?
No, but I will anyway. That's because this flight continues to be a test flight, I should point out, as the number of helium leaks on board the spacecraft now grows to 5. So yeah, there are now 5 different helium leaks, and it's a small one, at least, the new one they discovered. Only about 1.7 psi leakage, whereas, again, if you recall, one of the ones we were concerned at during launch itself was at 40 psi. So at least, it's a smaller one, but teams are keeping an eye on it. they have delayed the return of Starliner now to the 22nd of June. That is not because of the helium leaks. Of course, while they're up there, they're going to take that time to examine it. There was supposed to be a spacewalk happening while they were up there, but there was an issue with the spacesuits for the ISS crew. So that has been delayed as well. But now, the question becomes, what are they going to do with that extra time? Well,
Party. They're gonna party, right?
party like a rock star? No. What they're actually going to do is try firing up 7 of the 8 engines that they have, the RCS ones, and basically kind of do a test on their performance when it comes to operational flight. So they will do 2 short bursts for a combined total of 1 second of bursting. Basically, it's to see how the engines are doing, what their conditioning is, and once they end up staying on station for full duration missions of 6 months, how they'll hold up. And I guess the question then becomes the possibility of using it to boost the station. But as of right now, it doesn't sound like that is one of the main reasons in the cards right now. It will also perform some hatch operations to better understand its handling, repeat some safe haven testing, so in the event something goes wrong on the ISS, they rush to the safe haven of their capsule, as well as some more piloting testing that they have planned ahead of that landing. So we will see with that aft thruster testing how well that goes. We will see how well everything ends up going with return. But they did say, and I want to re-emphasize this and specify this, they do have enough helium on board that they are okay to continue with the landing on the 22nd of June now. So yes, there are 5 leaks, but they have plenty of helium. That is not a concern. It's not a worry of, hey, we need a rescue vehicle or anything like that. That's not why they're extending their time in space. So they will be okay. They will return home, and hopefully everything goes well. Also worth noting, as a reminder, while they were docked to the ISS, there was audio that made it onto the main space-to-ground net of what sounded like an emergency on board the ISS.
Right.
It was not. It was a training simulation where they accidentally piped the training feed into the main feed. Because keep in mind, there are other control rooms as well out there that they have in Houston. It's not just the main one. There are simulator ones, there are backroom ones, there's a bunch. So they will use those to kind of run through scenarios. So they're like, oh my gosh, someone's stuck in traffic? Well, what do you do if there's a spacecraft emergency and your main person's stuck in traffic? These are the crazy things that they end up training for. I mean, like I was saying during the stream last night when the first Starlink scrub, I'm very good friends with one of the people who used to be one of the SimSups, the simulator supervisors for Shuttle. And they basically would throw everything under the sun at them. So it would be, oh, now there's a helium leak. Oh, one of your fuel cells is gone. Oh, one of your computers is out. Oh, there's bad weather at the emergency landing site number 1. So you throw everything at them so that hopefully they learn from it. And then if that were to happen in real life, it's, oh, I remember doing that. So that is the other reason why.
Right. That's the point of doing simulations, right? So the delay in Starliner's return, no relation to the sim. In fact, I think even Jared Isaacman tweeted something along the lines of like, "Oh, I now know what sim they're going to put me through next week," or something like that.
Polaris Dawn, yeah.
Yeah. So very interesting either way. So obviously, so glad it was a simulation. I haven't even listened to the audio. I frankly, personally, don't want that in my brain for my nightmares to have the ability to take advantage of. So yeah, I do know that people were very concerned. I obviously saw Space Twitter taking that very seriously because it's a very serious thing. So thankfully, no relation there. But the question becomes, with all these leaks on Starliner, is this a good flight so far? Do we think this is the first step to actual operational flights? Do we think they'll need another flight test? What is your take? And I'm going to throw it to D, who is then going to throw it to Sawyer because I have to go check on a car alarm.
Yeah, I mean, that's a really good question. Of course, Boeing and NASA teams will be observing all of the data throughout. Once they return, I'm sure they're going to be looking at more data. And just because everything doesn't go perfectly on one of these demonstration missions, these flight test missions, doesn't mean that they necessarily have to do another one. There were things seen during Demo 2 that they had to fix moving forward, and they continued to improve the spacecraft. So just because they aren't having a perfect per se flight doesn't mean that they cannot move into operational flights. The NASA teams will work with Boeing and they'll make their determinations at a later point, of course. But I don't know. What do you think, Sawyer?
I mean, it is the crew flight test. You have 2 test pilots flying it. The word test, I don't think, is said enough about this mission. They're really trying to learn everything they can about this vehicle. Is a helium leak a bad thing? Yeah. Is it enough to be detrimental to the mission? Thankfully, no. But it's a learning experience with these flight tests. You'd rather have it now on a vehicle that can come back after 2-3 weeks in space versus one that's stuck there for 6 months venting helium the entire time. So you've got that going for you, which is nice. And I think that so far, the fact that they docked, the fact that the crew is there and alive, and that through all of these issues, they're still trying new tests. They're still about to test the thrusters. They still have more front window flying tests that they plan on doing before landing. I think all of that goes to show that so far it's a success. I mean, as long as it lands back on Earth safely with the crew on board, despite all of these issues, it is a successful test flight. If this were to happen on Starliner 1, it's a different story. For this flight, I think this is totally acceptable for a flight test, as long as everyone makes it home.
Yeah. I mean, no disagreements there from me. I obviously would like to see the test flight go smoother, but that's the whole point of a test flight, right? Is you find the kinks and you iron them out, and that's how you get to operational status. So, y'all, if you have any Starliner questions, ask them now. I'm gonna thank some people for some support, and then we're gonna hit some Starliner questions, and then we're gonna talk about Starship Flight 5. So let's do that. Lars, thank you for gifting a Red Team membership. Telstar86, another common name. Say behind the or BTS, Bacon Tile System for Starship's new heat shield. I mean, it would smell good. Well, actually, if it charred it might not smell good. Based on the microwave bacon, it probably wouldn't smell good. And yes, we did microwave bacon on the bacon stream. I hate to admit it. I really do hate to admit it, but we did. We got bullied by chat into it. We almost got bullied by chat into boiling bacon, which I think is patently absurd. But luckily, we were able to dissuade D from doing so.
We should have.
No, absolutely not.
I'm not saying it would have been good. It would have been science. And we would have had a new low bar, and the microwave bacon would have been less atrocious.
You're spending so much time asking if we could, you're not thinking about if we should.
I think we let the chat decide if we should.
That's true. Thank God the poll worked out. Anonymous, thank you for the store purchase. They got a print from Sean. Nice. They say, for all the bacon fun, pew, pew, pew. Nice. Excellent. I know Sean appreciates that. As a portion of the sale for each metal print goes, yeah, pew, pew. Yeah, I heard it that time. Yes. Oh, God. Kevin is pew, pew drunk. Don't give Kevin a new toy. That's the lesson I think we should have learned by now. But Musical Wolves, thank you for the support. They say, given how Starliner leaks, would it leak a secret if someone told it one?
Just don't tell it one, you don't have to worry.
There you go. What we're wise beyond your years, good Sawyer.
No, I'm Rosenstein. He's wise. They're wise, excuse me. You're a buyer.
I still haven't made buttons. I'm trying to find the right cue that I need. This one. Yep, got it.
We need one that's just a You had like the yay during the cooking stream. We need just an like
yeah,
a groaning.
we do. I do feel like we need a groan. At this point, we're just populating Kevin's soundboard live, which I'm kind of here for.
I'm here for it.
Gary Swift, thank you for the $10 super. That's extremely generous of you. They say the best flaps are no flaps. 26.
Yay, ship 26!
Let's go!
Boo. Bideford gifting 10 Red Team memberships. Thank you, Bideford. Very kind of you. As always, we appreciate it. I'm sorry you didn't like Blade Runner. I promise you it's a good movie and you're just wrong about it. Yeah, no, I kid. You're allowed to not like it.
Watch all the other versions first.
Yeah, maybe the director's cut is not the best one to start with. I don't know. Maybe they'll like 2049. I don't know. If that's okay. 2049 is beautiful, if flawed. It's beautiful. And Telstar86 again gifting a Red Team membership. Thank you so much, Telstar, for all of the support now and previously. Andrew M is asking RE Starliner, think they'll get the February 2025 window for crew rotation or the August 2025 window? Sawyer, I'm going to throw this one to you first.
August. I'm going to throw it right out there. The fact that it delayed as much as it did, I think that didn't help to begin with. And now that we've got all these helium leaks, train time, I think they're going to take that extra time to make sure everything is fixed and functional and ready to go for the next flight. And I think that's a little too tight of a time turnaround. Oh, more train. So I think that they're going to get the August window next year, allow them to fix the spacecraft, do all that good stuff.
That makes sense. D, thoughts?
I mean, I would absolutely agree. Because this wasn't a flawless mission overall, I would say they will some more time to reassess all their systems, see what needs to be changed. So I think we'll have a while until we see their first operational crewed flight.
Yeah, that's fair.
By the way, can I just point something out, Jack?
Sure.
You said we had, what was it, Telstar that gave us support?
Yes, that's a name of an old communications satellite, right?
I'm well aware of that. Yeah, that was one of the early ones. Well, I'm going to upgrade you one from Telstar to Maxar. Because I don't know if you've seen this, but they took a crazy photo of the ISS with Starliner docked. This was taken 7 days ago, June 7th. This was taken by using one of their Earth-observing satellites, WorldView 3, and pointing it up instead of down at the Earth. They pointed it up to low Earth orbit and managed to capture this shot of the International Space Station. So you've got to the close-up there of it docked, and then the wide shot of the whole International freaking Space Station. I just saw this picture, I'm like, oh, it's so cool.
Yeah, it's really neat. And if I recall correctly, which I could very well be not, satellite-on-satellite photography is one of the big topics of... what shuttle book is it? Is it Into the Black? I think it's Into the Black. I'm not positive. But either way, satellite-on-satellite photography is and has been, since the idea was first had, incredibly challenging, especially considering that a lot of the time, if not all of the time, the assets you're trying to do that with are meant for ground observation, not the observation specifically of other orbiting machines. And if you think about it, the thing you're trying to photograph is orbiting at a certain speed and a certain inclination. You're orbiting at a certain speed and certain inclination. And you can't just take a photo. It's not that simple. You need to slew the camera or pan or tilt the camera to match the movement of the thing you're trying to shoot. I mean, D. Sawyer, you know this as photographers, right? Like, if you're just standing there stationary and you try and snap a photo, unless your shutter speed is through the roof, you're probably going to get a blurry shot because you're not tracking the subject. So in order to accomplish a shot like that, Maxar not only had to position everything just right and time everything just right, but they had to move the spacecraft and camera within it just right as well. So truly an insane image. Thanks for bringing that up, Sawyer.
And
Absolutely.
this was also taken from a satellite. Like, this isn't some brand new satellite. The satellite was launched in 2014. So this is a decade-old satellite taking this picture, launched on an Atlas V out of Vandenberg. And you got to think, we're launching so many more satellites nowadays. The satellite-to-satellite imagery is only going to get better from here. And this is such an incredible image already. I really look forward to the future and some of the technical uses of the satellite-to-satellite imagery as well, because while in this case it's just cool to see Starliner docked, be used for troubleshooting of spacecraft, ripping a whole bunch of really useful things in space.
Yeah, and Into the Black, I believe the whole thing was they wanted to use a NRO asset or a DoD asset to image the shuttle's heat shield to ensure that the tiles were okay. And at a certain point, I believe there was like a conversation in Mission Control where they're like, look, we can't tell you why you're okay, but trust us, you're okay, or something along those lines. Go read Into the Black. It's a really good book. Author's Roland White. Absolutely fascinating. But yeah, sat-on-sat imaging is crazy. And if this is what a public or private company can do with, 14, you say 14 years old, D?
10, right?
A decade old. It launched in 2014.
Thank you. Yeah, a 10-year-old satellite can do from a company. Like, this always gets my brain spinning around. Like, okay, so what can the DoD do? What can the NRO do? Especially with a dedicated asset that's intended to do space-based situational awareness as opposed to Earth observation. I imagine there are some amazing photographs out there that we won't see for 30 to 50 years, if ever. But it'll be exciting to see the private sector catch up.
I think I want to clarify that I got my ups and downs mixed up, pointing down, because obviously there was the Earth behind it. This is a side view. This was, they literally took one of the Soyuz crew capsules when Endeavour, the best shuttle, was docked to the ISS for the last time. Oh, shush, for STS-134. So they got shots of Endeavour docked to the space station. There was a couple amazing views, including the underside of the orbiter all around. It was absolutely stunning. There's hundreds of photos, which you can see on the L2 forums, all of them in one neat place, so you don't have to go digging around from these shots from Soyuz TMA-20. Thank you for reminding me, Alex. So, yeah.
Absolutely gorgeous.
Wonderful shots, but at the same time, you compare it to the one from now, they are so different. The actual view of what the station looks like now. I mean, you've got the ROSAs, the International Space Station roll-out solar arrays.
Right.
There's more things that have been added and moved around, and that was also pre-STS-135, so before the multi-purpose logistics module became the permanent logistics module.
Right. It's crazy. It's crazy how much the ISS has changed over the years, and I miss the shuttle. I'm not sucking up to Chris, I swear. I just miss the shuttle. What a beautiful, amazing flying machine. And we started off the stream by talking at length about Virgin Galactic and Unity. Just space planes. They're just the coolest. Like, it does not get cooler than a space plane. Which brings us to Starship. Is Starship a space plane? This is the main topic of today's Flame Trench debate. I kid. But no, for real.
Answer, no.
Does Starship count as a space plane? It has flaps.
No.
It has flaps.
Doesn't have wings.
It has flaps. EJ called them wings.
But they're not, it's not like it's a fixed wing with control surfaces on them. The flaps are the control surface. That's it. So I No, and also doesn't land on wheels.
Someone needs to make a graphic, like the like chaotic neutral or like body pure. Like there's like the little grids that people make, and it's like you put each spacecraft. Anyway, someone needs to do that with Starship, and it would be like chaotic neutral is a space plane or something. One person is laughing right now. Maybe it's D.
I want to be able to say it's a
also,
space. I like the idea of like it flying like a plane, but I mean that re-entry is basically like following its trajectory and down, and I don't know if we can call that a space plane as much
I mean,
as that would be.
It does have cross range.
Flip and burn. It doesn't land. It flips, burns, goes upright.
There's planes that land vertically. Look at a Harrier. Look at an F-35B.
On its wheels, with the wings
it's
still
a
in the
VTOL
horizontal
space plane.
position.
Yeah, Sawyer, it's a VTOL space plane. Yeah. Heck yeah, D.
No, that would be
You might have won me over with this.
VTVL.
Vertical takeoff, vertical landing. Yeah, okay. All right, no, but
Which is
you're
different.
agreeing. So we all agree Starship is...
Don't even try, Mr. East Coast, Best Coast. Don't even try.
I blame the pasta. It was too much pasta.
I'm blaming the pasta on your bad take here, too. It's fine.
All right, well, you can see
Anyway.
there's our live broadcast of Flight 4.
We need a poll. Someone poll.
We do
that.
kind of...
Yeah, Starship is a lifting body, so that all lines up, right?
It's got cross range.
Lifting
It's a
body
lifting
does
body.
not equal plane.
It has aero surfaces.
are you calling the flaps the wings?
I
That's
said
what they're trying to say.
I said aero surfaces.
I mean, because it didn't even land with those, so
It does. No, it totally lands with them. It does things with the flaps.
if they don't burn up.
That too.
Yeah, well.
Yeah, also, Das, great point. Runway. Last check.
Well,
the Indian
yeah,
Ocean
Das-
is not a runway.
Dawson, our back channel, just all caps, types a single word, runway.
Right.
What is the launch tower if not a runway, but vertical? Okay, and he also says, and to be a plane, it has to have a glide ratio above some number. And Starship ain't it. You know what,
Thank you, Das.
I still think we should have a poll. I really do. But yeah, let's talk about Flight 5 as we watch the video of us flipping out, absolutely losing our minds, I think appropriately, at the re-entry of Flight 4. To sum up where we're at right now, Starship is not required. SpaceX and Starship are not required by the FAA to conduct a mishap investigation. The FAA looked into it, and they concluded that at no point Starship was a danger or did anything that exceeded its restrictions. So that is good news. No mishap investigation needed. But the question is, and we know that SpaceX can achieve or conduct multiple flights on the current license that they got for Flight 4, unless they modify it. So now the question becomes, how do we square the statements from Elon that they're going to go for a catch on Flight 5 with the fact that it seems like Flight 5, if they do go for a catch, will require a more extensive, for lack of a better word, fight with the FAA. Not literal, but figurative. So, for just right off the bat, do we think they will go for a catch on Flight 5? That's the first question I'm gonna ask here, and I'll throw it to D first. Maybe not. I'll throw it to Sawyer first.
I think so. Yes, honestly. I believe them. Whether it's going to be successful or not, I don't know. I think they're going to get very darn close, that's for sure. I think we are going to see the maneuver that we've kind of been advertised of, the ship coming in on a bit of a slant towards the tower. I think we will see that. Whether it actually continually then is caught and remains in one piece, both the booster and the tower, that's another story. But I definitely think it is going to make it to the point where we are in the sort of animation that SpaceX has released of what the landing should look like. I'm excited for that catch, at least. I hope they're right. I hope they do it. And knowing the craziness that is Elon and SpaceX, I think they will, especially now that we're seeing the legs going in for the next Starship tower.
Well, okay, first off, you said ship. I know you meant booster.
I did mean booster, yeah.
No plans to catch the ship yet. We're talking about booster, which I know you know because you corrected yourself. I mean, I want to see it. I want to see it, and I want to see it happen as soon as physically possible. I'm not super worried about a RUD on a catch damaging the launch infrastructure significantly. I mean, yeah, it wouldn't be great, but I don't think it would be the end of the world, especially, as you said, Sawyer, with Pad 2 beginning to get built now. That said, do they actually do, or do they try and get even more data from another test flight with the same profile as Flight 4? I think that's ultimately that question, whatever the answer to it ends up being, will determine how long we have to wait for Flight 5. If we have
I don't think so. I think they're at the point where, okay, they got it to touchdown successfully finally. They came very close the first time. They fixed it the second time, and just knowing the way that SpaceX iterates, I think they're going to mark that as success. I think they're then going to go for the catch with the booster, and the big thing for the ship is to make sure that the flaps and aero surfaces survive.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I'm all for seeing another flight soon, and I feel like whatever approval the FAA is going to need to grant SpaceX for the catch, it's not trivial. I base this on absolutely nothing whatsoever other than my own inkling, but I feel like the approvals for the first catch are going to take a while, just because it's new and different and never been attempted before, etc. So it really is sort of curious to me. I mean, they kind of do have time, at least when it comes to Ship 30, right? Because they're currently tearing literally all the tiles off of Ship 30, and when we heard that they were going to do that, I thought in my head, well, surely not all the tiles, right? Just like the ones near the flaps or the ones on the nose or whatever specific tile. No, it really does appear like they're pulling all of the tiles off. So however long that's going to take, however long that's going to take, plus however long it's going to take them to refurbish the pad, I'm not sure what ends up being a long pull, but maybe SpaceX ends up confident that getting approval from the FAA will not hinder their cadence measurably. Or maybe they're at a point where they are not worried about their cadence quite so much, more than they are not chucking boosters into the ocean. Because, hey, that's got to be expensive every time you do it, especially on a ship with 33 engines that's meant to be fully reusable. And by ship, I mean booster, because I'm an idiot.
See, it's not just me.
But we do have a poll.
Yep. I've already voted.
I shouldn't have looked at the results. Is Starship a space plane? Answer A, yes. Angry DOS noises has 33%. Answer B, no, has 67%. Grumble, grumble.
Hey, just as the people are clapping. Yeah.
Yay, they agree it's
That's
a space plane. Yay, it's a space plane. Yay.
No, that's not. But anyway, going back to what you were just saying, I mean, it'll also be nice the fact that not only can they recover it in terms of cost, but they actually get a booster back that they can examine physically, get hands-on with, see what worked, what didn't. Even if it does kind of RUD on reentry, at least have the parts that you can then go and examine, as opposed to the requirement from the FAA for this most recent one that Booster 11 and Ship 30, the giant parts of it, basically should sink to the bottom of the ocean or the Gulf of Mexico.
Yeah, I mean, thank you also for noting that the Gulf of Mexico is not the ocean. It is basically just a stinky puddle full of oil.
As someone who lived right near the Gulf of Mexico for 4 years, I agree completely. But anyway.
Thanks, BP. Okay, we have some questions coming in, RE Starship. So let's do some question answering. How about? All right, first question is from Cool Guy 67, and they say Jack is totally right. Starship is totally a space plane. Everyone else is wrong. I'm not. It's not showing up on the ticker, but this is totally. This totally is a real thing.
Hang on a second here. I'm pulling up the panel now. I will not take this. Let me see. I don't see that one. Huh?
No, it's real. Refresh. It's totally there.
You do realize I just came from hosting another stream, so I know how this stuff works.
I don't know. Sawyer, you're getting a little robot-y. Maybe we need to have you reconnect. Kevin, are you ready for the thing? Kevin? We have a gifted Red Team membership from none other than Ninja Decimator. Pew, pew, pew. Thank you, Ninja.
There it goes.
We appreciate you. Telstar, thank you again. They say you're welcome for the photo. Love that. Matthias, thank you again for the super chat. They say we love y'all. And Gary Swift, thank you for the $10 super chat. Very appreciative of that. They say the cost of sacrificing another booster versus a new launch tower. Here's the thing. Let's say a booster's coming in for landing and it absolutely nails the launch tower. I think the tower's fine. Not worried about the tower at all. What about you, Sawyer?
I think there'd be more damage to the OLM than there would be to the tower, for being perfectly honest.
Even the OLM, I feel like, is built like a tank. Like, what's worse? A small conflagration from the very little remaining fuel in a mostly empty booster, or the fury of 33 engines, lifting off the pad. I feel like liftoff is going to be far worse than anything the pad experiences, except my main concern, and again, I'm not a rocket scientist. I could be completely stupid, so feel free to tell me so in chat. I feel like my main concern of a booster landing failure would be just the mass of the booster itself. I mean, any sort of conflagration or what have you could hurt some ground equipment or burn up some pipes or something along those lines that would require replacing. But I think largely the pad is okay. But the mass of the booster.
There's your issue, though. It has nothing to do so much with the small fire, aka Mr. Fancy Words conflagration over here. There's going to be a boom if that happens. There will definitely be a RUD, but I think that you're going to have damage to the top of the OLM because, again, when it does that, as you mentioned, you've got the weight and the fact that it's not like the fire is gone after 5 or 6 seconds. It can continue to burn.
Right.
I think the tower itself would be able to withstand it, but then you've got everything inside the tower, alongside the tower, that runs through the tower. There's all of your electronics, your GSE.
Right.
That's going to be toast. And I feel like, honestly, that might take longer to repair and replace than an OLM would.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely am not saying all the GSE would be fine. And I definitely think a lot of, wiring, pipes, plumbing, anything that's not the bare structure of the tower itself would certainly, suffer some damage. But I don't think like a landing booster would knock over the tower or render the tower structurally deficient. But I'm not an engineer. Anyways, all that said, the question or the super chat question from Gary asking the cost of sacrificing another booster versus a new launch tower. Point taken. To me, the booster is cheaper, just in time, because the time it would take to refurbish the pad after a catch RUD is surely not insignificant. That said, I don't think it would be the end of the world. So who knows? Maybe they'll try it. I don't know. D, do we have you back?
I think I am back. I'm on, I think this is the third or fourth network option now. Do you hear me all right?
Yeah, loud and clear, buddy.
Fantastic. Yeah, I think there is definitely a trade-off there as far as whether they would lose a booster, risk the launch tower. I'm not overly hopeful that everything will go perfectly for the catch, but I am like seeing this footage. I think it's going to go well. I think it's going to go better than any of us had expected even a year ago. So I'm not too worried about the tower personally.
Yeah, same. And I agree. I do think a year ago, if you asked me if we would be getting to booster catches being a plausible thing to have happen in mid 2024, I would say, heck no.
I think we actually had at the beginning of the year one of those, when we do our roundup of
Oh,
do we
yeah.
think it'll happen? I think most of us said no, not this year.
So, I mean, that just shows you how SpaceX is able to move so rapidly that we are constantly having to adjust our perception of what is actually possible or plausible.
This is one where I hope to be wrong. There are very few times, so this is one of those times where I hope to be wrong.
Yeah. So factoring in the discussion about will they go for a catch for Flight 5 or not, I guess you have to sort of have in your mind, are they going for a catch or not? What do we think the turnaround is going to be between 4 and 5? I mean, obviously, it's highly dependent on if they catch it or not. But I'm going to throw this one to D first because it looks like they sighed, which means they're going to have a hard time. And if I throw it to them first, they don't have any time to formulate a response. They just have to sort of go for it. So, D, what do you think?
I think we have two months, maybe 1.5. But I would say, yeah. I don't think it's going to happen super duper soon, but I've already been impressed with the turnaround rate. So,
do you think that, like, are you factoring in a catch attempt, or do you think they will not go for a catch attempt on 5?
I want to be hopeful. I'm going to say catch attempt 2.5 months, no catch attempt 1.5, 2 months. That's optimistic, I would say. I don't know.
I think that's reasonable. That's fair. Sawyer?
I want to clarify the question. Are you talking about between flights 4 and 5 or 5 and 6?
4 and 5.
Okay, so we're talking 5 would be the one with the catch, and we're talking about 4 being the one that
it depends on if you think there will be a catch. That factors into your answer. But I'm not presupposing in asking this question that there will or won't be.
I mean, like I was saying before, I think that they're going to go for it. And I think the biggest holdup, honestly, for this mission is going to be the ship more so than the booster. I mean, like you mentioned, they're going to pull all of the heat shield tiles off, and then I don't know if they're going to stick them all back on as is, if they're going to have to make new tiles, redo them, decide to use a different material, kind of like you had with the shuttle, where you had a mix of thermal blankets, silica tiles, and then the reinforced carbon-carbon for the highest parts of the heating. I don't know, maybe you get a slightly different variant on that portion of the vehicle.
I still think Starship should have a reinforced carbon-carbon nose cone tip, just because it would look sick.
Then you can paint eyeballs on it. It looks really cool. But yeah, given the fact that they're pulling all the tiles off, even if they go for a catch, I think the ship is going to be the holdup for this. So as much as we were hoping like a month to 6 weeks after, I'm thinking that early August would be a safe bet.
Yeah, that's a fair bet. And we have a comment here from Michael Sharon saying, turnaround would depend on how fast the FAA approves the catch. If indeed they end up actually going for it on Flight 5. Because I would like to remind our viewers that an Elon tweet does not reality make. Remember when Cybertrucks were supposed to be made out of Starship steel? Because that didn't happen. But it is fun.
Remember when roadsters were going to be able to fly and also were going to be a thing 4 years ago?
Are they still doing a SpaceX edition Roadster with COPVs and thrusters or whatever? If they're actually still doing that...
we even know if they're still doing a Roadster at all at this point. It's been kept silent for so long.
Right. But yes, to your point, D, a tweet does not reality make. That is something that we actually have to see manifest in the physical world in some form. Gareth,
By the way,
thank you for the super chat. They say Starship isn't a plane, but it does fall with style.
I will agree to that completely.
It does fall with style. Telstar again. Thank you, Telstar. They say I think the deluge plate would take more damage. That's a good. That's a good point. I do see some questions in chat, like here from Dougal. Dougal, I haven't seen Dougal's name in a hot minute, but that's a OG tank watcher. Dougal saying, will they run the deluge again for booster landing? How quickly can they do another run of deluge? I think the tank farm for the deluge system holds like 3 something blasts. I don't know. 3 deluges. What's the plural of deluge?
And we actually, Jack, saw the deluge go off when the booster, or around the time that the booster was landing on the last flight.
Right. So yes, I think that's something that we can presume would occur.
By the way,
Jack, I was just thinking about this video of the booster falling, and I'm gonna hit play so we can see the whole thing. But I remember standing at KSC watching Crew 6 and watching the Falcon 9 come over with the short burn. Everybody remember the short burn?
Max and I gave a look to each other of, that doesn't seem normal.
I thought that thing was falling on our heads, to be honest. And now it was my first launch ever in person. But can you imagine this thing falling? Like this thing falling over Starbase.
Yes.
Like I had to ask in the back channel, Alex, because Alex knows all. This booster is 1 meter taller and 5.33 meters wider than a Falcon 9.
Yes. It's big.
It's huge.
And I can absolutely imagine it just not even starting its engines, just like cratering straight into the tank farm. I mean, Starbase is no stranger to explosions. And seeing basically a 22-story building that's 9 meters wide and made out of stainless steel and full of explosive material come in hot like that is really going to be a treat. Whatever happens.
Okay, and I'm also wrong, by the way, because Alex gave me wrong information. See, I thought Alex knows
You asked Alex the wrong question.
Did I?
It's definitely not Alex's fault. That's all I know.
Okay, so according to Alex, it's the Falcon 9 booster is about the size of a super heavy LOX tank, but so that's even bigger.
Yes,
you're talking about the height of the entire Falcon 9 from the last one.
So yeah, just looking at this, obviously, I'm super excited for whenever a catch does actually start to happen, because holy cow, is that going to be a magnificent thing to photograph and witness, and especially the sonic booms. Like, it's such a big vehicle, it's so wide, it's pushing so much air. The sonic booms off this thing are going to be legendary, and I'm slightly concerned for all the panes of glass on South Padre Island. But that's surely something they have thought about, right?
I mean, they've definitely thought of it.
Oh, we have a new poll in chat. When Flight 5 of Starship? Option A is early July. Option B is late July. Option C is early August. And option D is late August or later. Interesting that right now early August is winning.
I'm just going to say that's one of those when they actually go for the catch that I would consider going to Starbase for. Because for those wondering, I have never been to Starbase.
You gotta.
It's so
make you bacon.
Oh, okay.
I will
as long as it's you and not D, no offense.
Or the microwave.
I'll get you some boiled bacon.
Stop it. Parker Rutherford, thank you for the support. And Kyler Monray, I'm sorry if I'm butchering your name. They say SpaceX was willing to risk the entire tower. Oh my god. I talk for a living. I swear. I'm good at talking. SpaceX was willing to risk the entire tower, orbital launch mount, and ground support equipment with a 50% chance of RUD on Flight 1. Their only goal was to clear the tower. They will 100% try a catch. That's a fair point and statement. Although I do feel like it bears pointing out that when SpaceX or Elon says something is 50-50, I feel like they're notoriously good at sandbagging. Like, would they really actually launch if they thought it was 50-50? Maybe that's an illustrative way of saying things might not go 100% perfect, but I have a hard time believing they would actually launch if they actually thought it was 50-50.
Like, I mean, for Falcon Heavy, Elon kept saying, don't expect a successful flight.
Right.
Don't expect it to make it beyond the tower. There's a chance it could destroy the pad. There's a chance it could blow up. And there's a chance that it couldn't separate the side cores. It was crazy. And then that one worked perfectly. So, I mean, Flight 1 of Starship obviously wasn't as perfect as the first flight of Falcon Heavy, but it was at least a 50% success, that's for sure.
Yeah. Dark Ace is asking, how far away is the tank farm from the tower? If the booster ruds, what's the danger to the tank farm? Buddy, it's right there. It's like right there. Especially from the animations that we've seen, I do believe the catch will occur essentially between the orbital launch mount and the tank farm. Now that could change. I'm basing that off of renders and my own brain memory, which is notoriously fallible. But yeah, it's stupid close to the tank farm. So that more than the tower and the mount itself would be my personal concern from a failed catch. David Murray is asking, are they planning to build a second tank farm? We don't know. This is me shrugging. I don't know if you can see it. I have to like make my shrug smaller, in which case it looks like I'm doing like the cutie patootie face, which I'm definitely not. Deep breath, Sawyer.
Cutie patootie face?
Deep breath, Sawyer. Yeah, we don't know. We don't know if the second tower will just get tied into the first tank farm, or if it'll get its own tank farm, or if one then the other. But Alex is saying they've confirmed they're not building a second tank farm. They're extending the existing one for the second tower and mount. Great, thank you, Alex. Shows how much I've been running around for the last week plus that I missed that. Pretty nifty. Extending the original tank farm. Yep.
I do think you're a cutie patootie.
Thank you, Sawyer. That means so much. Thank you.
I'm not even going to try making the face.
Is it weird? Is it weird when I whisper?
Just a little.
Jake Winlow gifting 5 Red Team memberships. Thank you so much, Jake. And Jack Wales, thank you for the super chat. They say, for the Sawyer 15-hour road trip to Starbase with Dee and Jack. Oh my God, Sawyer, are you in?
I mean, honestly, yes.
We could rent an RV. You and Julia and Max and Dee and I, and we'll Shanghai Chris B. It'll just be the best kind of chaos.
NSFRV. There you go.
We can fit in an RV to drive the entire way from Florida to Starbase. Think of all the antennas we can put on top to have it streamed perfectly the entire way. I think this is a flawless plan.
Yeah, the flat roof, nice ground plane for the antennas. Like, it's just perfect. It's just it writes itself.
Or to strap me to. Either one.
We can get Doss and Kevin like their own.
How many hours drive is
the
that?
delay there.
19 and a half of actual driving.
19
I've done it.
and a half.
Yes. Not counting
Just a reminder, it will be
field.
slower. It will be slower in an RV.
That's true. We could also get
so
Kevin and
24
Doss
hours.
like their own Mad Max type vehicle, and they could like chase us down.
No, Mad Max would be an R vehicle.
No, he'd be Happy Max because he's with us.
We still haven't gotten my tank though, guys. I need a tank so I can operate the stream from Starbase.
Kevin, I don't know if we can condone you getting a killdozer, because let's be real, it would be a killdozer, not a tank. I know you.
The imagery.
We just need Kevin to have an RV with everything in it. All like 12 monitors.
Yes.
I'm down for
NSFRV.
that.
That would be great. Juan Lambers, thank you for the 50 euros. I had to double check. 50 euro super chat. That's insane,
Whoa.
Juan. Thank you. That's incredibly generous.
Wow.
They're asking, when do you think we could see 2 full Starships stacked side by side, and when with one potentially starting the Raptor engines? Fully risk it. I think we'll see 2 full stacks on the pad under 2 years from today. Probably closer, I would say between a year and 2 years. Definitely not within a year. Maybe in like a year and a half, but somewhere between a year and 2 years. I know that's kind of waffly, but hey, that's my answer. Sawyer, you wanna answer first?
Is that waffly or pancakey?
Waffle. Waffles are superior to pancakes. Everybody knows that.
I mean, I agree, but that's one we agree on. Yeah, I think it's still going to be a bit. I mean, I feel like right now it's going to be the idea of, all right, one takes off, and then that goes right into refurbishment. And then the second tower will be next up for flight. I mean, I think back to Shuttle, with the 2 shuttles on the pad, which happened a couple of times, and you can see some of those pictures on Shuttle Sundays, 3 p.m., Space Coast Live.
And on L2.
And the photos originally, yes, on L2. But I'm trying not to give an Alex/Jack answer of answering with a lot of words, but not an actual answer.
Hey, I gave an actual answer. If it was an Alex answer, it would have taken 20 more minutes and said less.
You said 1 to 2 years. It's not a like time. I think I would say early 2026.
Oh, that's a more defined time.
I mean, then 1 to 2 years. Yours is 365 days. Mine is like 90.
What do you think? Well, I'm mad at Sawyer.
I think it'll depend a lot on if they are actually fully operational vehicles entirely ready for flight. Because, I mean, we saw a full stack well before they were actually ready for flight. I could see SpaceX having a tower, not being ready to actually launch anything from that tower, and throwing a booster and throwing a ship up there that are not in fully flight ready continuation or configurations. So, I mean, if they do that, I could see the 1.5 to 2 years. And if we're talking 2 full stacks ready for flight that are actually going to be flying, I'm not sure. It's a big question, and it's hard to give timelines on that.
No, that's a really good point, though. They stacked Booster 4 and Ship 20 with a frickin' crane before chopsticks were even working, before they had a ship QD arm even on the tower. So that's a fair point. And I do think as soon as they can, like as soon as SpaceX can possibly have 2 vehicles fully stacked on 2 separate pads, taking operational things aside, they will do it, if only for the PR win of saying, look at how we're firing on all cylinders. We've got 2 fully stacked vehicles at the pads. That's 100% something they would do.
That's totally a photo op, which I could see them doing. But yeah, something else I was going to say, and it just totally left my brain.
Was it that I'm great and everybody loves me?
No, I agree with Chris B in the back channel who said it was ding ding time to fight you. Oh, that's what it was. I will be very happy to see that second stack as long as it doesn't include Ship 26.
That's true. Yeah, no 26, please. Alex is saying,
that would be
by the
so
way,
cool if we had Ship 26 on one of the stacks. They should totally do that.
You said that so casually, Jack. That was just not fair. And then you immediately move on to support.
Yeah, I was trying.
We should give 626 a little bit of time that it deserves.
Don't tell me you're going to play this stupid music.
Don't play the thing.
I actually don't have it on my system right now. So.
Thank the rocket gods.
That's a W.
Yeah, that is a rare Kevin W. Unintended Kevin W. Yeah, okay, so we have a question from someone with a very long name named Alex. They say, forget about the time between Flight 4 and 5. What is our take on what's going to happen after Flight 5? Will they go with Ship 31 and Booster 13, or will they jump to version 2 if all goes well? Do we think that they're going to skip one of the remaining version 1 ships, which would be the 2 last remaining ones are 30 and 31. We're not including 26 in that because it's not even a version 1 ship. It's just a stupid tube with a point on it. Sawyer, you can go first. What do you think? What's going to happen after Flight 5? Will they skip 13 and 31 and go on to version 2, or will they fly 13 and 31?
I'll be honest, I think it's going to depend on the result. If they don't go for the catch, then there will be a version 1 on the next flight after that. If they go for the catch, then I think any vehicle after that is going to start to be the V2 infrastructure. I'm sure they're still going to keep the other one. That maybe one of the vehicles, say 31, ends up stacked on that second tower for the photo op kind of deal. But yeah, I think that at that point it's going to depend on the result. Successful catch, then we move on to V2. Not successful catch, one more V1.
Ian, what do you think?
I mean, I'd agree with that completely. If we see a success, they might as well move on to the next one. If they decide not to go for a catch or something goes wrong with the catch, I could absolutely see them wanting to just be ready for another attempt as soon as possible and going with another of the earlier version of the ship. Yeah, I think they should fly Ship 26, though. I think that would be quite a cool look.
Stop it. You're just biased because you got to see it static fire.
I did. It was a gorgeous static fire.
How? How?
I'm resisting. I'm resisting.
Can I change it?
I'm resisting the urge. All right, I can't resist anymore.
I can.
Don't full screen that. Why would you full screen that?
For LSR to give. That's why.
It does kind of slap. I'm not gonna lie.
It really slaps.
Thank you for stopping the pain. What were we even oh yeah, the other weird thing with skipping ships or what have you is they're continuing to build version 1 boosters. So maybe that's because they can just sort of do an adapter in the form of the hot stage ring, and if they do make a change to how the ship attaches to the booster in version 2, they can just handle that adaptation or whatever changes in the hot stage ring itself. I don't know, but at this point, I'm going to be surprised if they skip any of the version 1 ships. But I've been surprised by them skipping ships in the past. But that's a good question from our very own Alex. Thank you, Alex.
Also, I realized that I focused on the booster, not the ship, with my answer. Yeah. Ship-wise, same thing. Survives re-entry without the hinges breaking, then they move on to V2. We see another burn-through, one more V1. Basically the same thing.
Hang on, I have to yell at Chris B in chat for saying that was Electronica because it's so not. Anyways, we have a super chat here from Garrett. Thank you, Garrett. They say, is Bacon Ranch the name of the NSF property in Boca Chica? No. There's North Beach, South Beach, Highway, and River. You might be thinking of Rocket Ranch, and they do make bacon there. I had a bacon-wrapped turkey for Thanksgiving. It was amazing. But yeah, shout out to Rocket Ranch. They're awesome. That is the ranch in Starbase that you should know about. And Gary,
this is the clutter.
yeah, there you go. And Gary Swift, thank you for the $10 super chat. Extremely kind of you. They say, would you go for a catch or orbit first if you had to choose? I'm going to say catch. Oh, look, we have a nice little graphic showing our different sites. Yeah, that's River. It's not actually a triangle, but it's there.
It's like a waypoint.
Sure. There's not also a giant X over the launch site or production site.
See, it's pointing at the site. You could see
Yeah.
the site at the end of the arrow. It's an arrow.
Yes, that one made more sense. It would be
Yeah.
cool if they had a giant 1,000-foot tall X that rotated above the launch site, though. There's the north
I mean, it
site.
would.
I mean, Mr. Map made these, so it doesn't have to make sense.
Right. It just has to be a map. So yeah, if I had to choose catch first or orbit first, I'm gonna say catch first, just from my own selfish priorities, because I want to see that catch happen. I want to see that vapor cone. I want to hear those sonic booms. I really want to see a catch. I think it's going to be amazing. So I'm going to vote catch first if I had to choose. Sawyer, catch first or orbit first? What do you think?
If I had to choose, I mean, orbit first gets you closer to operational flight, whereas catch first gets you closer to reusability. So, as much as I'd like to see catch first, I think I'd rather see orbital first, because then you've got the higher chance of seeing real flights of Starship after that. Get it into orbit, if the catch happens, I mean, that's going to be freaking awesome. But at this point, I want to see this thing flying payloads next. I want to see this getting a regular normal launch cadence. So I want to see them launching out of Florida here now. To do that, you need orbit first.
Yeah, that makes sense. Dee, what do you think?
That's a really good point, Sawyer, but I'm just going to say entirely selfishly, I really want to see a catch. I want to have cameras all around that thing catching the catch as it takes off and then lands. That's just going to be a really amazing thing to witness. We're going to have some cool views of it, different than like Falcon 9 you have. You have a very clear view to the landing site, whereas with the exception of if you're in a boat, you don't really see like the bottom of the rocket at the at LZ1 and LZ2. So that'll be a really cool thing in addition to just how massive a rocket coming back and landing it'll be. So I really want to get that footage, so I have to say catch.
Yeah, understandable. Completely understandable.
I get it, but again, I want to see more of these flying, so to do that, you need the orbit. The catch is going to be nuts. I cannot wait for the catch. I wish I will be there for the catch, hopefully, but I want to see this thing orbit, soar. Imagine the shots of it just orbiting the Earth, get a whole 90-minute time lapse from one of the flaps.
But those wouldn't be my shots. And like I said, I was being very selfish, and I want to catch those shots. This is entirely a selfish thing here.
But as someone who leaves cameras places, this would be perfect to leave a camera in orbit.
He's got you there.
Okay, can I get a camera on the ship? If I can get a camera on the ship, I'll vote for orbit. But unless I have a camera up there, I'm gonna say catch.
Yeah, I'll call up Elon and be like, "Hey, can we duct tape a couple things to the flap? Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it."
I've got plenty of pink duct tape.
Nice.
Yes.
You do. I can confirm. You do.
It is impressive the amount of pink that Dee has, and it's fantastic.
Indeed. Bob Smith, thank you for the super chat. They say, "Isn't ship version 2 dependent on Raptor 3?" No, I thought Raptor 3 was ship version 3. I'm waiting for Alex to type in the back channel. But that's my recollection.
The only thing he's typing in the back channel is yelling at me that I'll get lots of catches at a catch-only tower at 39A.
No. Please, God, no. I was avoiding this. No. No catch-only tower.
As much as 37 and or 50 would be nice to have as well, I want to see it from 39A.
Right.
I really want to see it from 39A too. The view from right here, with the exposure isn't right, but I mean the tower is there. I don't know if you can really see it. And that would just be such an incredible view. And so the sonic booms from the press site here with the landing right there, I would genuinely be worried about this class. But I want to be on the roof of this building and watch Starship launch.
Imagine how destroyed our remotes will get, but it'll be worth it. And yeah, I don't even know if they would open the 39 press site for that. That might be too close.
It's wild. I can't wait. I can't wait to the day I can go to Florida for a Starship launch instead of Texas. It's going to be really great. I'm so excited for that.
We miss you here, Jack. Come back to Florida.
It has been.
Then we'll road trip out to Starbase for another one.
Yes, that sounds great. Sign me up. Great Decay, thank you for the super chat. They say Ship 26 is going to be saved, retrofit, and launched as a tanking demonstration target for another future Starship. You know, I have talked enough smack about catch-only towers and Ship 26 that at this point, I'm not going to say anything is impossible.
I can't even dance. I'm laughing too hard.
I think we broke Sawyer. I'm just glad I didn't get full screened again that time. I was measuring my reaction so that I could immediately stop if Kevin tried to full screen me. Telstar86, thank you for the 9 curly L's. They say, we need Jake here. He's a real cat. Shh.
Oh, pun token awarded. All right. If you take me full screen for a sec, Kevin.
And yes, Telstar would like to see a catch first.
If you take me full screen for just a second.
Do it.
Okay. Let's see if it'll reach. There he is.
I don't see him. Oh, I do see him.
See the head pop up there?
Oh, it's this little guy.
Aww.
Jake.
He's in the dark, but he's cute.
Jake.
So,
all right, thank you.
He's here.
Thank you for that. Just for Telstar 86.
Totally. Oh. Yeah, he may not want to have me full screen now, but yeah. There we go.
Let's do some more questions. Killian is asking, so far the splashdown was missing the hover and horizontal adjustment we saw in the SpaceX render. So my take is another booster goes for a bath before we see any catching. How much stock should we be putting in renders like that from SpaceX? Sawyer, thoughts?
Go back to the BFR presentation. Compare that to the one that they released 5 years ago. Compare that to the one they just released. I think the only thing that they've gotten right is that it takes off. So, yeah,
Alex?
I wouldn't take it totally at face value. I think it's a good idea of what they're planning on, but once practicality comes into it, I think it's going to be ever so slightly different.
Yeah. Alex on our back channel saying the booster does not hover in the render. Just because it can hover doesn't mean it will. Thanks, Alex. D, what do you think?
On the accuracy of the renders?
Yeah.
Like, I know that the team puts a lot of work into them, and I don't want to degrade that work, but I mean, we constantly see changes, and so they could have been planning that render before a lot of changes, and we cannot rely on the accuracy there at all. We've seen even Elon compliment some people who did their own renders as being like an incredibly accurate depiction. And so if the more accurate depictions are people on X that are like going off of what is told and making their best guesses, then I think we'll have to wait and see.
We have we do now have the render playing, so thank you for that, Kevin.
I'm very excited. It has been a while since I've actually sat down and watched one of SpaceX's renders, to be totally honest.
I mean, they're always well done, right? Like, say what you want about it being 100% accurate or not. They're always beautiful and well done. It's just a matter of how much of this will end up being super realistic and how much of this is notional or is realistic at the time they made the render And, like everything at SpaceX, especially with Starship, it just eventually changes. Bideford, again, with a $20 super chat. Thank you, Bideford. They say, okay, if Sawyer's going to make the trip, and I know Jack will be there, we're making the trip so we can meet all the wonderful East Coast crew as well. Aw, thank you, Bideford. Sawyer, I will carry you piggyback style from Florida to Starbase if I have to get you out here. Like, what do I have to do?
You don't have to carry me. I come with my own wheels, dude.
Did you have more, or was that, or you just said?
I was waiting for you to stop laughing. No.
Okay, thanks.
I mean, the hardest part is just the accessibility, because it is the middle of nowhere, Texas. Kind of things are far away.
Right.
Getting the car, getting the right hotel room.
Right.
Not getting stuck in the sand, both with a driving vehicle and or myself.
Right.
Which I feel like is very possible.
It is.
So,
it is.
Yeah. There's all of that to take into account, which does make it a little on the pricier side too. So when I do it, I got to go all in, and also then need someone to watch Jake, because he is terrible in car rides.
I'll just bring Jake, and then Laika and Jake can be besties.
I mean, he will not stop meowing. Also, Credence saying, "Oh wait, we just need a trailer hitch." Yes, that's the kind of thinking we need.
I love it.
So we'll make sure the RV has the trailer hitch.
Yes. Easy. Done. Problem solved. Moving on.
Yeah, because turns out RV doors pretty narrow.
True. Yeah, they're all really, really, really tiny. Kanan Copeland. What's up, Kanan? Thanks for hanging out with us on all the member streams in the last week. They ask, do you think Flight 5 will be past July 21st? I'm going to say yes. D, what do you think?
Absolutely. I'm not saying that just because I need a break and I need sleep. I absolutely think it will be after July 21st.
Sawyer?
Well, here's what you thought, because we did have a poll running and the results are in.
Wow.
God, I need to host a game show or something. I've got
You really do.
Voice.
You're really good at it, even though we're not a game show.
Yeah, and to add the suspense. And the winner, the highest percentage was late July. So, yeah, I agree with the majority of people. 41%, in fact, saying late July. I think that it's going to be after July 21st. Early August coming in second with 34%. Early July getting 13%. And late August or later getting 11%.
Jester Tiger in chat saying, well, I could mod Danger Van to an open back with a powered ramp as an RV-style thing to give you all the access. I like where this is going.
If we can
like
get a ramp into Danger Van, throw some hand controls in, I will drive everywhere. I don't care.
That would be amazing. That would honestly be amazing.
Yes. I like
these
where
days,
this is going.
One of these days
we need DOS and
to...
EJ to work on this. DOS with the ideas and EJ with the car modifications.
Yeah, we need to El Camino-ize the Danger Van and get it back up running again, and put a ramp on it. I think this is an excellent use of our dollars.
Absolutely. That's where your support is going to. No, I'm kidding.
We kid. Pat Lanks Last UK also was hanging out with us on all the member streams over the last week. They say Jake would get steak from Jack. That's true. We did feed a stray cat steak. And by we, I mean I did. Shortly after being accosted by a cricket.
So Jack and Jake would give Jake the steak from Jack?
Yes, I think.
Actually, yeah.
I think this is a separate render here from SpaceX. I think this is the most recent catch animation render, whatever you want to call it.
The other one was a couple years old, just for reference of the difference of what it looked like then versus now.
Right. I love that they chose this perspective as it's coming back in. It's just like really cooking. You can see the air and everything.
And of course, that purple hue from the methane.
That's an extreme angle down to the last second.
Yeah. Yeah, so we didn't exactly see that sort of profile on the booster landing on Flight 4. It was more straight down, right?
Yeah, also kind
definitely
of had giant
felt
flames
that
shooting
way.
out one of the sides.
Yeah, it also had a lot of extra fire, should we? I don't know how else to put it other than there seemed to be some extra fire happening.
Hey, just turn
It's
off
just-
the cameras when there's some extra fire and nothing bad can happen after the cameras and the live stream are off, right?
Right, right. Nothing ever bad happens after the cameras and live streams are off.
Nope.
Ship 10. Although we were still on air at that point.
Yeah, my camera was still on. My camera was still on. I'm so glad I was still rolling for that. I would have forever hated myself. Gary Swift with a $10 super saying, assuming you caught a booster, then what? You've got a booster hanging on the arms with some propellant in it that has to remain pressurized, but people can't approach? I think you set it down on the mount, and then you get the booster QD hooked up to it, and you go from there. Neither of those things requires, in theory, people to be around, right? Yeah, Jack, right. Cool.
Sorry, I have a certain fluff ball getting off the bed and laying down behind me at the moment. I was a little distracted.
Is he Angie or just Eepy?
Eepy.
Oh.
Very eepy.
Another question from Kanan Copeland asking, why did we drop IFT for just flight test? Isn't that the same thing? I mean, I could rant. Should I? I don't think anyone wants to hear a Jack rant right now.
Do it.
This is just me personally speaking. Flight 1 was IFT 1 because the internet decided it, I guess. Everything after that is just Starship flight number, if you ask me. Me personally. So I've been calling it Starship Flight 4. I will call Flight 5 Starship Flight 5. It's the same reason I call it a launch tower and not the, what is it, everyone always calls it the OLIT, Orbital Launch Integration Tower. Like, I don't call it an OLIT. That's unnecessary. It's a launch tower.
That
It's
is
an
not
unnecessary acronym. That's just me. Does anyone else have thoughts?
Yeah, OLIT is not lit. But yeah, and also the fact that after the integrated flight test, it wasn't even really like a numbered flight. Kind of like how you have the crew flight test ongoing right now for Starliner. It was the integrated flight test. It was the first time the two vehicles integrated, all fired, and launched together. After that, everything became Starship's second flight test, third flight test, fourth flight test. Kind of like, again, after they had the anomaly with the orbital flight test for Starliner, they then had to add an OFT 2. So I don't know if integrated ever was really anything more than the people saying, oh, it's the first time that the entire integrated stack is flying in the first one. So that's why I think you drop integrated and everything after that is just a flight test.
Yeah, Ryan in our back channel is saying, they say first integrated flight test, second integrated flight test, etc. Never integrated flight test 1 or IFT1, etc. And yeah, so yeah, I mean that's the ranty answer, I suppose. It's just a flight test. You don't need to put integrated in there. It's the same thing. It's just an orbital launch mount. It's just a launch tower. You don't need to say orbital integrated launch integration tower integrated. Like it's just a launch tower. But you know what? If it strikes your fancy, who am I to stop anyone? Good question.
Right, you eat terrible bagels, so fair.
I do not eat terrible bagels. I eat delicious bagels. You have no idea what an actual bagel is.
I'm sure they're delicious, but they're terrible.
Hugh-Man is asking when Starliner emoji. We really should get a Starliner emoji. We have a dragon emoji. I can spam the dragon emoji. I can't spam a Starliner emoji. We have one in our Discord. We don't have one, I think, on YouTube yet. Needs to happen. Thank you, Hugh-Man, for exposing that grievous oversight. Let's see. I'm looking for a couple more questions. Yeah, Steven in chat says Jamie said on tomorrow they call it just Flight 1, 2, 3, and 4. So there you have it from Jamie's mouth. I was going to say from the horse's mouth, but I didn't want to call Jamie a horse. So
No, they're a very lovely person.
yes. So let's see. Kara Twilight, I don't even know why I'm reading this out loud. They say, how about TOIL for an acronym? Tower for Orbital Integrated Launch. No, absolutely not.
Did you really have to toil over coming up with that?
I'm putting my foot down. Wow, Sawyer. A+. You got a face palm from D. Admiral Maraith is asking, Sawyer, if a Starship or booster RUDs, would that be a disintegrated flight test? I think yes.
I mean, technically, they are not integrated anymore after first and second stage separation, but
that's also true. That's a very good point.
So it doesn't necessarily need to be a RUD.
And Telstar 86 again with 9 more curly L's. Buddy, thank you so much. They say, last message, I should sleep. This can be for a pun token, bacon fund, or danger van upgrades. Thanks, NSF. Later, nerds. Thank you so much, Telstar. We appreciate it. We really do. All right, the back channel is just cursed right now. Everyone is coming up with horrible acronyms. Chat is coming up with horrible acronyms. I think at this point we wrap it. We will have a little bit of a post show for members in the Discord, so be sure to stick around for that if you're in the Discord. But yeah, I do want to thank all of our launch engineers and back channel. Focus, like we're trying to wrap a show here. Alex, I don't know what you're doing, but stop it.
You're assuming the show was ever focused to begin with.
I'm trying. I'm really trying. I almost started talking about beard stuff at the top of the show and then stopped myself. But yeah, thank you so much to our launch directors and our flight engineers, the 2 highest levels of support. We can't do what we do without y'all. We absolutely can't. All of the members, you're the bedrock upon which the tower of NSF is built, and we appreciate you so much. The vagaries of the YouTube algorithm, the vagaries of just everything that comes along with being a creator and a channel on the internet where you come for news means that it can be tricky to sort of plan things out and budget and all that, but the membership program allows us to do that because we know each month we're going to have X amount of support or what have you. So once again, thank you so much to all of our members. Hey look, EJ's still driving. Make sure you go raid EJ's stream after this while we're hanging out in the post show. I believe he is on Twitch. Kevin, what is EJ's what's EJ's Twitch handle?
EJ_SA.
Good deal. Make sure you go show EJ some love.
I just had my 93-month subscription.
I love how we're dancing around the stream during this. It's perfect.
I mean, it's just catchy, okay? I hate Ship 26, but I love its theme song.
It was very animated of me. I don't know what I was animated about.
For real, thank you everybody for watching this week. Oh, we got the air quotes. Nice. Sawyer love.
Yeah. Jack hate.
I'm scared because I know the me dancing one is going to happen.
That does not look inappropriate
Sawyer
at all.
wants
Thank
it
you.
now.
Here's my jazz hands.
That was really weird. It's more like rave hands.
I was not very excited.
Success, Sawyer.
Why are there so many of me this time? Where's Jack dancing? Come on.
Because chat loves you. That was my jazz hands.
Where's your jazz hands?
Hey, the finger guns.
Pew, pew, pew.
Okay, that's terrifying.
Is my face palm gonna be in here?
It might be.
Car alarm.
Oh, the fireworks.
Wait for it.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was a good one.
Like,
that's a good one.
After a few months of this show, we're gonna have so many face palms.
We absolutely need that facepalm gift. Yes.
Quality.
There's
cutie
patootie. Also,
How
Tars,
do you,
why not?
how do you
Come
do a
on.
shrug in a tiny little, like, you can't, like, do I put my hands over here? No, that doesn't work. Do I put them further back? Like, a reverse shrug?
The visceral reaction in that laugh. W, Kevin
Nice.
W. Which is now an L based off of the music, but anyway.
That's the thing, is we gave him so much crap, he went and found it.
Please take the W down, you're losing your W, sir.
That's it.
You know,
That's it.
I feel,
We should
the
end the
love.
show.
but I feel
didn't
so
do the
much
L.
love from our members and the music. So I guess we'll do the post show. All right. Thanks everybody for watching this week. EJ will be back next week. We'll talk about it later. But yeah, thanks for watching. And let's go hang out in the post show.
And here we go. We have liftoff. Propulsion continues to be normal.
R68 chamber pressure looks good.
Traveling up. Roger, roger, planet.
Water towers fly!
Tango down to nominal. Fighting downside at speed off. Bring in at speed off. Off. It's orange!
Oh my god! Oh my god!
Decollage.
Put that in the big bag, Eagle.
343 unfolds to go.
Indeed.
We rise together, back to the moon and beyond.
The methane will be igniting in the flare, correct?
Yikes. Keep red. We don't need any more of these.